injured in an accident, you need a lawyer, and you deserve an advocate. Because every accident has a ripple effect. It affects your time, your health, your ability to make money, everything. That's where the advocates can help. Speaking with an attorney is simple and 100% free. We're available 24/7 for your convenience, and we'll take on the claims process so you can rest easy. Because you're not just a client to us, you're a person, and you deserve the best help you can get. You deserve an advocate.
This is the Monty Show, the truth in sports talk streaming. When you want unbiased opinions about your favorite team without the spin, all you have to do is find the Monty Show, streaming live and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on YouTube. And now, here's Monty.
Hey, the Monty Show, live on your YouTube machine. As always, we are presented by The Advocates, theadvocates.com. San Diego, hello. Las Vegas, hello. The Advocates now have offices open in San Diego and Las Vegas. Let me get this right. Idaho, Montana, the PNW, Utah, Nevada, and now California. Everywhere we are, Phoenix, Arizona, hello. Our biggest markets outside of Dallas in the great state of Texas, the Advocates are there for you. Hook it up, theadvocates.com. If you get into a wreck, you get into an accident, you get hurt at work, absolutely, positively, the workman's comp experts, theadvocates.com. And the best part about working with the Advocates, you never reach into your pocket to pay the Advocates because you do not pay unless and until the Advocates win your case at theadvocates.com. Good morning to you on January 16th. And I'm a little fired up today. I got a speeding ticket last week. Wait until you hear how fast I was going for the speeding ticket. But I would like to start the show. I just tossing that out there, you know.
Yeah.
I would like to start the show with this ridiculousness about Ohio State buying a championship. And I really struggle with this nonsense. I don't understand this vitriol and this turning Ohio State into villains for using the transfer portal. Somebody explain to me what Ohio State did that's wrong here. Because you listen to guys like Paul Feinbaum. Why you listen to Feinbaum, I could not tell you. I am unsure as to why you listen to Paul Feinbaum. But let me show you this quote from, Mr. Voice of College Football, who says, I love Notre Dame's story because they're not playing for national championship with Ole Miss's running back and Alabama's defensive back. I mean, Notre Dame, have developed players. They've gone out and brought in players from Duke and other schools just like Indiana did, but ultimately they found a way to beat some good programs along the way. So wait, it's okay if you bring in a shitty quarterback like Riley Leonard, but if you bring in Caleb Downs, now all of a sudden it's a bad thing. So let me get this right. You're upset because Ohio State portaled better than everybody else, and you're upset because Ohio State took two of the best players in Quinshon Judkins from Ole Miss and Caleb Downs from Alabama out of the SEC into the Big Ten. So old Baldy is upset about that because that's what this feels like to me. This is the system that is in place. Jake, what was Ohio State supposed to do?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Nothing else. I mean, they were supposed to go into the portal. They were supposed to go out and try to get the best talent in the country. And I think it speaks volumes about the situation that those two guys were even available. And of course, everyone's going to go ahead and say, well, Monty, they're more available if you got $20 million to throw at them. But now everyone's got $20 million to throw at them. So it's not like Ohio State is just outspending everybody. It's not like, Notre Dame doesn't have the resources that Ohio State has. Obviously Notre Dame doesn't report their financial picture. So we don't know if they've got more or less or the same. But what I can tell you is it's Notre Dame. There's an expectation of winning national championships at your institution. I would expect you to go out and portal at a really high level. And NIL and money in relationship to the portal is what the sport is about now. I mean, if you want to be a top end program, you better be using every cent of that $20 million allotment to go out and get the best players and build the best rosters. So to me, I would agree that this is one of the few times where, I feel like, Paul Feinbaum, an ESPN guy, an SEC guy, of course, very much is trying to slight the Big Ten for doing their job, right? I mean, because that's what this is, right? This is what Ryan Day and Marcus Freeman and every head coach in college football is supposed to be doing. And that's why I say when you look at the SEC, when you look at the Big Ten, this conversation about the success the Big Ten has had, I mean, it's not a secret as to why the Big Ten is doing well, is competing, and has been competing, because they have money, they have resources, and they have a track record of success. So again, what were they supposed to do? Nothing different. They were supposed to do what they did, which is go out, use and leverage their money in the portal, and get the best players. And by the way, I just want to point this out, Paul Feinbaum. If Ryan Day hadn't gone out and gotten Judkins and Caleb Downs and Will Howard, and he wasn't in the college football playoff, his ass would be home on his couch right now, and you'd have been saying he was a bum. So you can't have it both ways.
Yeah, you can't win for losing in college football right now. And I just continue to go down this path of Ohio State did it better than everybody else. And I don't know why that's so painful. For me, Notre Dame tried to get Will Howard. Will Howard didn't want to go to Notre Dame. We got beat. It's as simple as that. We are going to lose, in my opinion, to Ohio State because they have a better quarterback. The skill position, sure, does, as we talked about on the program yesterday, does Ohio State have better wide receivers? Exponentially better. Does Ohio State have a better offensive line? In my opinion, exponentially better. Do they have a better quarterback? That's not even a real question. Will Howard is significantly better than Riley Leonard at quarterbacking. And that's because not even the players. Why are we not talking about the fact that Chip Kelly gave up a head coaching gig to come and be the offensive coordinator in Columbus? They did it better. They did it bigger. They did it well. And we should be applauding Ohio State for doing it the right way.
Well, and I think part of that point is that Ohio State's been doing it at a really high level. And this is the point that I think, a lot of the newer, programs into their conferences don't want to hear, which is like, hey, Ohio State or Bama or like whoever you want to, any of the blue bloods in their conferences, those programs have been doing it at a high level for a long time. So when you look at the case of Will Howard, let's say, Will Howard wanted to go to because Will Howard understands that Ohio State typically has a lethal wide receiver room, or really just a lethal skill position set on their roster. And that's going to allow him as a quarterback to develop and most likely improve his draft stock so he can be put in a good position in the NFL. And it's no slight against Notre Dame, but if you're Will Howard, Notre Dame wasn't going to be the best fit for what you needed to get done.
I agree.
And that's why I say I just don't understand why. And I get it with Paul. Paul is an SEC guy. He's paid to write articles like this. Like, I get it. I totally understand it from that standpoint. But if Paul Feinbaum in his heart truly believes that Ohio State has bought their way to a national championship, I just don't understand how you come to that conclusion.
And when I was looking at Ohio State's roster, did they do well in the portal? Absolutely. But how do you explain Seth McLaughlin? Remington Award, you ran his ass out of Tuscaloosa, right? Remember the snap and this guy sucks. And turns out he doesn't suck. Turns out he's doing just fine at Ohio State when he's healthy.
But everybody said he sucked and Ohio State took the flyer on him. And by the way, just want to point out, dude's hurt again. Dude's not even under center anymore. So stop talking to me about how, all these guys that they paid for are just perfectly healthy and everything's amazing in Ohio State country. And that's, and listen, I also have to say, I'm not even an Ohio State fan.
No, that's the best part.
And that's the thing about the last couple of weeks doing the show is like, obviously we've done a lot of Ohio State, content and conversations, but it's because of this narrative around this program. And I feel like this is what we do to programs who win a lot. This is what we do to Texas.
This is what we did to Alabama.
This is what we did to Alabama, right? Like, this is what we do to first team all SRT in Georgia, right? Like, this is what we do.
But on the other side of that, isn't this why we all hate the SEC? Or isn't this what feeds the narrative? Hey, because I don't personally hate the SEC, but this is what pisses me off about the SEC. It's just assumed that Caleb Downs would never want to leave Alabama or the SEC. Well, I got news for you. The Big Ten, as much as I think the SEC is still a better, deeper football conference, the Big Ten is a really good place to go and play if you're at one of the elite programs. And there is no other elite program in that league than Ohio State. And as a Notre Dame fan, yes, I am jealous that Caleb Downs is at the shoe. Yes, I am jealous that Will Howard is the quarterback at Ohio State and not at Notre Dame. Yeah. Yes, I wish Quinshon Judkins was at Notre Dame, but they're not. And the bottom line is Ohio State ran the system better than anybody else, and I applaud them for that. I wish that and I understand why we hate the behemoths, right? I think to your point, that's what this is.
And I think that right there is exactly what is just riddled in the Paul Feinbaum quote.
Yeah.
Hey, Paul is basically trying to make this point. Oh, well, I love Notre Dame's story because, they're doing it with their guys, not with old Mrs. running back in Alabama.
Because they took guys from Duke.
So let me get this right, Paul. Let me get this right. I just want to make sure I have this straight in my head. So you're saying you love Notre Dame's story, even though they did exactly what Ohio State did. Do I have that right?
We just didn't hit it the way that Ohio State did.
Like,
it as simple as that.
Right. But the mechanics of it are still the same. Hey, we need a quarterback because, perfect beard and flow is going to the NFL. And we liked what we saw at Riley Leonard. So now we went and got him.
And I think Schuler is just as good as Caleb Downs. I think they're very close.
Yeah.
The quarterback, and I'll say this every day, and I know you're probably pissed off and tired of hearing me say it. Teams win championships with quarterbacks. There are very few outliers, and everybody always points to Trent Dilfer.
Or lose them with their quarterback.
Donovan McNabb. I'm sorry. I'm a jerk.
Bro.
I don't even know.
It just comes out,
I don't even know.
It's like a natural reflex.
But you look at my Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
Why don't we have Super Bowls?
Yeah.
Well, because we don't have a net. Do you guys understand? The Bears have never had a 4,000-yard passer ever, not once.
Well, 4,000-yard passer, let alone a franchise quarterback, a guy that anchors the offense.
Ever, not once.
Yeah,
not once. And you look at everybody says, "Well, hey, Monty, what about Jimmy McMahon?" I love Jim McMahon. I almost wet myself when we had hot dogs with him in Scottsdale. I was literally fanboying over Jim. It was unbelievable. Anyway, point is, Jim McMahon was a really solid quarterback. He was not a franchise quarterback. That team won with defense and a quarterback who had big play wide receivers, and he threw fly balls, and Willie Galt and Dennis McKinnon caught him.
Yeah.
You have to have Will Howard. If it was just Judkins and his name went right. The kid that went to Syracuse that you love so much. Kyle McCord. Does this team win with Kyle McCord? No, it does not.
Oh, well, Monty, he went off at Syracuse.
Well, Monty.
The difference is Syracuse isn't the shoe.
That's exactly right. And Syracuse isn't playing the same schedule that Ohio State. Do they damn near beat Oregon twice in one season? No. This team doesn't do it with Caleb Downs and Quinshon Judkins. They don't do it without Will Howard. And we're going to lose to Ohio State on Monday because Will Howard plays at Ohio State and not Notre Dame. So
I just feel like it's the eady button for guys like Paul Feinbaum to hit this narrative. I feel like it's and again, I just want to keep pointing this out. Like, not really a Big Ten fan. I hate Michigan. I'm not a fan of that brand. Like, I'm not a big SEC guy. I'm just a fan of good college football games. And that could be Like, I loved the Miami-Louisville game earlier this year. I was all about that game. I was, doing stuff around the house, watching that game while I was doing it. Just an incredible football game. But, like, I don't know why this time of year, it's almost like guys like Paul Feinbaum or, the Joel Klatz of the world or the Cowherds have to look at these teams and be like, what can we criticize them for today? How can I get out of bed today and find a headline about Ohio State that disparages them? Oh, I'm sorry. Did you mean Deion Sanders or Ohio State?
But it was all the Deion Sanders hate.
Yeah.
Right? That's what we do. That's what we do. When people utilize a system that you put in place and they utilize it better than you. I don't know. I think Will Howard's one of the great stories. I might as well just fillet the guy, but we've talked about this. I think he's having a historically good season. Is he Dwayne Haskins? No, but I don't think anybody will ever be Dwayne Haskins.
Yeah, and I think you got to give a lot of credit to Ryan Day. Ryan Day's having a hell of a season. And again,
bro,
I'm
going to cut you off because you can't lose the Michigan game, Ryan Day.
Yeah, but
you can't lose to Michigan. We needed you to beat Michigan. Everybody in college football needed you to beat Michigan. And then you lose to Michigan. You were the hero we deserved. But it turns out not the one we needed. We needed you to beat Michigan. It's probably backwards.
Doesn't make you feel responsible.
The jury's out on Ryan Day. I'm not going to sit here and spin. I don't think Ryan Day, I always joke and call him the Lloyd Carr. Have you seen Lloyd Carr and Ryan Day in the same room? Because I have not.
Any Ohio State fan, and I understand it's Michigan, this dude, since that game, has ripped off one of the best runs in college football history.
Nobody has ever had this path to a national championship. Granted, 12-team playoff, totally get it. You beat Tennessee. And I still think Tennessee's defense is
top notch.
What's the proper adjective? You ended Oregon.
Eviscerated.
You ended Oregon. Right? I mean, you look at the way that they beat Texas. They haven't done it in one style. They've done it in multiple different styles. They've beat 3 of the best teams in the country. You have a quarterback in Will Howard that some Ohio State fans want to blame. This has been a historic run through the playoff. Will Howard has had a historically good season. I would say top 5 quarterback seasons ever at Ohio State. Maybe better than that.
I think it's number 2 behind Dwayne Haskins.
I
understand that Stroud had a great run. I understand, but
I think it's Haskins, Stroud, and then Will Howard. But I'm not an Ohio State fan. I'm probably not.
But just 2 cents on that. Just something to think about. C.J. Stroud didn't have to deal with the things that Will Howard had to deal with here, right?
No, I would agree with that.
I think if you're just looking at numbers, yeah, C.J.'s season's better, sure. But I'm talking about total picture. If you consider yes the number, yes the numbers, but also the narratives, the expectations, Will's path leaving K-State to go to Ohio State. I have it number 2 all the time at Ohio State. But again, either way, it's definitively top 5. I don't think that's in question.
I think, and this is just me, if Ohio State wins the national championship Monday night, nobody's going to care about that loss to Michigan. Ohio State will have followed up. Stop texting me during the show.
Bro,
people are texting me that it doesn't matter what happens on Monday night. A buddy of mine is texting me now. Nobody will care about a national championship because you lost to Michigan. The perfect season died that day.
Stop.
Okay, that's a little strong.
Here, let me play the music for you. Oh my God. We lost to Michigan. The perfect season's, just not possible. Screw natties.
You did it better.
We want Michigan. Okay.
You did it better, cleaner, and with more respect than Michigan did. Michigan's championship will forever be tainted. Let's just get this straight right now. When Ohio State beats Notre Dame on Monday night and wins the national championship, nobody's going to care about that loss to Michigan. Nobody will be like, oh, asterisk. The loss to Michigan means nothing when you win the national championship. And you win it clean, and you win it by beating 4 of the best teams in the country. It's the stuff of legends. There's no tainting this. There's no cheating scandal. There's no sign stealer guy.
Yeah.
There's no BS. This is how you win a national championship in the modern era of college football. And you don't have to like it, but it is what it is.
Sign stealer guy.
Right? Like, it is what it is. And I'm tired of, again, I sound like an Ohio State fan. I'm not. But I'm tired of knocking down the legendary runs that people like Nick Saban had because you don't like Alabama.
Yeah.
I'm tired of knocking down. Ryan Day pisses me off on a lot of fronts.
I think he pisses most people off on a lot of fronts.
But if he wins a national championship, just start designing the statue now. Right? Because you're not pedo state. You're not Jim Harbaugh sign stealer guy.
Yeah.
Ryan Day hasn't had the Urban Meyer scandals. He hasn't had free tattoos. Like, you did it better than everybody else, and you need to embrace that. And again, it's what Mike Smith always hates when I say, you don't have to like it, but you better learn to love it, because I think that it's going to happen.
Yeah.
They're going to win a national championship on Monday night.
Got to be America's team.
And thank you, Jimmy. Unless there is some crazy, unless Riley Leonard, who his mom even says he sucks. If Riley Leonard somehow lights our world on fire and we win a national championship, I don't even know that I'll show up on Tuesday. I don't think I'll show up on Tuesday. If Notre Dame wins, I can die a happy man.
Right.
I don't see it happening. Listen, I'm a Chicago sports fan.
Anita Dick and me.
Yeah.
I don't
year. Again and again.
Ben Johnson wants the Raider job.
Johnson.
Ben Johnson wants the Raider job, not the Bears job. I don't have nice things.
I don't really get it.
Right? I'm not allowed to be happy. Notre Dame's not winning the national championship. But make no mistake about it. Tuesday morning, when we're sitting here talking about Ohio State as national champions, they did it bigger, better than anybody else in the modern era of college football.
Stay hard.
Period. End of no but Monties, no but Monties. And I'm tired of this. Well, I like Notre Dame because they went to Duke and got a quarterback. And, well, okay. What did that get you? What did that get you? And I would point out to you, you're only pissed, Baldy, because they took 2 of the best players out of the SEC. Notice you're not. Where are the accolades? If Notre Dame went to Duke, where is Ohio State going to K-State and taking the guy that K-State fans threw out in their trash heap? And Ohio State and Chip Kelly turned him into a gold nugget in Will Howard, because K-State didn't want Will Howard.
Mm-hmm.
How come we're not talking about how, hey, you took the best quarterback in the Big 12 and put him on Ohio State, and all of a sudden they won?
That's why we have fine moms.
Okay, I don't feel better.
Wagons.
I don't feel better.
It's just such an asinine take, dude.
It is.
It really is that. Like, and I'm not naive to the fact. Again, Paul Feinbaum is paid to do a job, right? I get it. I respect that. I understand that as this new cute term that we're all using now, as an opinion maker, Paul is paid to do a job, and I get it. But this is too far. Saying that you like Notre Dame because of the way they went about it more than Ohio State, and then saying that the way they went about it is exactly what Ohio State did, is just dumb.
And I don't know how many Ohio State fans are here today, but here's a question my buddy Marcus wants to know. Will Ohio State fans embrace Ryan Day as a legend if they win a national championship?
No.
I don't think so.
No.
Because I think
Listen, the issue is that Ryan Day is not a cold-blooded killer as a head coach, right? So what I mean is this year he's got it cooking, right? You
That's
did a
so
great job
unfair.
in the portal, but he's not a head coach that is is a savage. And to turn into that, you're going to have to win multiple national championships over the next 10 years.
I think he will have to win another national championship for Ohio State fans. You can't lose to Michigan the way that Ryan Day has lost to Michigan and be considered a legend.
Yeah, I mean,
is Ryan Day a good head coach?
Yes.
There's no question about that.
I think he's he's a top 5 head coach in all of college football. There's no question about it, and it's why he still has his job. But the issue is think about how we look back on Nick Saban's career. What do you know about Nick Saban?
The guy wins.
7 national championships. Guy wins. Has the right culture.
Yeah.
Does all the right things. Rides his players about tucking their shirts in. Like all that stuff. And it's why he's on ESPN and he's living a great post-coaching career right now. I don't have to ask if Nick Saban is a legend. The winnings does it for me.
But haven't we talked about this all week with the Bears? Haven't we talked about, and it's Oak State James. And again, I don't know if Oak State James is here yet, but it's what I always say about Mike Gundy. Neat that you go to bowl games every year. I want to win a championship. It's what I've complained about with Marcus Freeman. Ohio State, at the stadium. You're at home and you only have 10 guys multiple times on the field when Ohio State is at the goal line trying to win the game. It's what I've complained about. And I've given Marcus his flowers now. Hey, he's developed. I want to win championships. I don't care about, I ultimately, if I am an Ohio State fan, I'm pissed we don't beat Michigan. And yes, I will. If Ryan Day wins a championship and he walked into the studio, I'd be like, hey man, congratulations. I'm really happy for you. What are you going to do to beat Michigan next year? Because is there anybody here who thinks Michigan didn't have one of the best recruiting cycles of anybody? Because they did. Yeah. You don't have to like it.
Well, and I think that's where the bitterness comes from this particular year, is that Michigan was not a good team this year. And everybody and their mom knows it. And you still lost to them with this roster. And I think that, well, when you ask how, I think, and this is the part where I'm like, hey, Ryan Day's not a savage right now as a head coach. That team did not have chemistry.
But shouldn't we have the bar set for people like Ohio State, Alabama,
Texas,
certainly Notre Dame, Texas,
Oregon,
your university, whoever you are a fan of? Shouldn't the bar be championship or, good season, Colorado?
I wouldn't put them in that conversation.
But Deion's putting them in that conversation.
Yeah, but that's his job.
But the expectation should be championship.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're a college football coach and you don't go, and this is what I said about Rhett Lashley, being so upset about losing not losing, getting throttled.
Yeah.
Championship or bust. It's what I like about Boise State. Boise State believes that they're one of the 12 best teams and they should be competing for a national champion. They're not. Somebody break the news. But they believe they should be. The problem with a guy like Marcus Freeman, and again, I'm not trying to be a red ass, whatever you want to say. I'm not trying to downgrade Marcus Freeman in any way, shape, or form. I want to win championships. Riley is not good enough. Riley Leonard is not a good enough quarterback to be the starting quarterback at Notre Dame. Yet how much crap do I get from Notre Dame fans? And I'm surprised by it. Do you know how many USC fans are in my life? It's a lot. They want to fire Lincoln Riley. They want to fire Lincoln Riley, not because of this season. They wanted to fire Lincoln Riley after last season.
I want it.
And we're sitting here giving Marcus Freeman props because he's got Riley Leonard as a quarterback. Where will you be on Tuesday morning, you frauds, when Riley Leonard's one of the main reasons? Because I got news for you. Breaking news. Call me crazy. Ohio State is going to make them throw the football to win this game. Right? My point is, why are we denigrating a guy or knocking down a guy like Ryan Day, who's got the bar so high for himself It's much higher than any booster or fan at Ohio State. Yet we're going to sit here and fine-balm this guy because he did what everybody should have done, which is got the best running back.
What everybody is trying to do.
Exactly. There you go. He got the best offensive coordinator. He got the best portal quarterback. He got the best portal running back. He got the best portal defensive back. And you know what else he did? He got them all to perform at a really high level.
Yeah.
Except the Michigan game. He got them all to perform.
Was it the flag planting?
Was Jack Sawyer really upset? Yes. All right. I don't mean to rail. I'm really a passionate guy about where you set your bar. And if you're new to the show, and I know we have an enormous amount of new listeners on this show every day. If you're new to the show, I always talk about the Big 12. Why is the Big 12 struggling? Because the state of Texas is okay going to bowl games.
Apathy.
6 wins. Whew. Statue time. Joey McGuire went to a bowl game. Oh, my God. Lifetime.
Wow.
Lifetime con. Google me. Kirk Cignetti at Indiana.
Oh, I win. Google me.
Now, I understand. And I put James Franklin in this category, too. I understand that you had a really good season by Indiana standards. Did you have a really good season by Michigan standards? Did you have a really good season by Ohio State standards, by anybody in the SEC? Did you have a good season?
Google me.
Based on any championship aspiration of any kind at any level, when you lied to us and told us that all you do is win, and then we beat the living snot out of you at the stadium in South Bend?
Hot ass.
You weren't a very good football team. You were average across the board.
Yeah.
But my point is, I get really fired up when people try to tell me, and I'll use Oak State James because we had this very public spat on Twitter.
Epic.
And Oak State James is a guy who doesn't understand his role on this show.
And we've been through this before.
With his wife, and that she's not hot and all this other stuff. Anyway, the point is, he said
F around and find out.
He said that about his own wife.
Bro.
My point is, James and I went back and forth on Twitter, and one of the few times I ever get him, don't tweet at me because I'm not going to
get in the comment section.
But the point is, Riley Leonard is an average-ass quarterback who was great at Duke, not good enough at Notre Dame. Why would and I ask you today, has Notre Dame had a good season? Yes. 13 straight games in the regular season, lost to Northern Illinois. Hey, call that
as far as you've gotten in a long time.
Right? This is as close to getting our ass kicked by a real football team as we've been since Manti Te'o's
and I'm a vampire feeding off mass disappointment.
I'm so prepared to lose this game on Monday night.
I don't want to. So Monday night, when it's like 41-10, I don't want there to be the disappointment factor happening.
Okay.
I want you to say,
first of all, shut up. You said 41-10.
You're a homer is the first part.
And you wonder why I don't like you. You wonder why I just... He walks into the studio today like...
Don't talk crap about my team.
Exactly. Don't. Well, 41... Shut up.
Why don't you fuck off?
Just shut up. Well, 41-10, bro.
Well, Monty.
No, well, Monty's. They're not giving up 41 points.
Is it possible that they could ride the D?
I was in such a good mood. I won again on Prize Picks. How'd you do on Prize Picks last night?
Terrible.
How did you do on
Riley
Prize
Leonard Prize Picks last night, dude.
Yeah?
It was awful.
Good news.
Because it's garbage.
I Caleb Downs that MFer. I'm telling you again, and I would
stop texting dude in the middle of the show.
It's fine. I would point out that Will Howard is a free play on Prize Picks right now for Monday night.
Yeah.
Will Howard, download the Prize Picks app, use the promo code Monty. You deposit $5, they're going to give you 50 more instantly. Here's how you win. And right now, I'm going to have like 27 wins on Monday night because I've got all these wins waiting on Will Howard to throw. He's got to complete one pass on Monday night. Last night, my beloved, and listen, again, remember I told you, I don't have happiness in my life. Well, as a Chicago Bulls fan, I have no happiness in my life. But I would like to thank Zach Levine. It's Levine. Please don't tweet at me. For going under 34.5 last night. 15 points, 6 boards, and 7 dimes. I took the under.
Mm-hmm.
We call that chicken dinner. And then the other one that I took last night was my guy, Walker Kessler, last night. Less than 9.5 rebounds. I took less. I'd like to thank Walker for only having 8 rebounds. Will Howard's going to win me that on Monday night.
Yeah.
So it's that simple. You play flex play, which means you only have to win 2 of 3. You make 3 selections on a flex play. You just got to win 2 of 3 and you get paid. Prize Picks, America's favorite daily fantasy app. Download the app. Use the promo code Monty.
You
deposit $5. They'll give you 50 more instantly. All right, let's get into the comment section. First, look at that. A new member, Big John, with an Ohio State football.
Big John. Hey, Johnny boy.
Oh! Big John, good to see you. David Persons for $2. Yeah. My prediction, Notre Dame 24-21. I will say
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
That's not happening. Just telling you, 24-21 for Notre Dame is not happening, dude. It's not. No, it's not.
I will.
Those statements are not true, and I ask that you strike them.
Yes, I have a PXG putter sitting right here because I'm a PXG guy.
Yeah.
I wish that was true. Last second field goal. But I will say, listening to some Cleveland sports talk radio yesterday, listening to some Detroit sports talk radio yesterday, listening to ESPN radio yesterday, a lot more people predicting a close game. A lot of people think that this is exactly what David said right here. And David, to your credit, a lot of people think Ohio State wins this game on a buzzer beater field goal. I probably heard that 2-3 times yesterday. And again, I will tell you, my prediction is, I think 27-10 Ohio State. I can't find, again, a matchup that favors Notre Dame in this game. I cannot find it. And as good as we are at tackling and playing defense, Ohio State's a better defense than Notre Dame. Ohio State has a better quarterback, better wide receivers, better running backs, healthier running backs, healthier offensive line, healthier defense. Like they don't blitz. And I don't know, did we keep the graphic on my guy Riley Leonard? Yes, we did. Here's right here why I can't see Notre Dame scoring more than, I could see 14 points. If we get crazy, maybe 17 points because we do kick the ball well.
Mm-hmm.
But why does this right here terrify me? Because when he's kept clean, Riley Leonard completes passes, is rated 86.3, 37th in FBS, very respectable. But here's the problem. Look at the bottom number. When he's not blitzed, his rating is 63.7, 115th in FBS. What does that mean, Monty? Hey, Monty. Well, look at the second number. Under pressure, his rating is 36.2.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean against Ohio State? Nobody blitzes less, essentially, than Ohio State. Ohio State sends 4, and they get home with 4. So not only do they not blitz, 115th in the FBS, Riley Leonard, they pressure the quarterback, 125th in FBS. That's terrifying to me. Because if you watch and you really do take the time, as I have done, to do a matchup analysis here, Ohio State does not blitz. They send 4. I bet that they send 4 at least 80% of the time.
Right.
And their pre-snap looks, they don't even pre-snap look you into thinking they're going to blitz, because they don't. They more scheme zone man. They more scheme dropping. They'll show, Ohio State will show 6, sometimes, very rarely 7. I would say 65% of the time those guys drop out in the coverage.
Yeah, I think they try to trick you in the secondary. They're not trying to trick you with what
I agree.
with pressure. I think
I agree.
Caleb Downs is all over the field. And early in this game, I think you're going to see him pretty close to the line of scrimmage. I would not at all, even a little bit, be surprised to see, Caleb Downs, 15, 10 yards from the line of scrimmage. You're not going to see him. You're not going to see him playing 20, 25 yards down the field against Riley Leonard. There's just no need for that.
Why would you?
Yeah.
Right. There would be no reason.
Yeah.
Riley Leonard is not dangerous. And I can't remember what it was. It's something like when Riley Leonard has a sub 10% completion percentage on balls that travel more than 20 something yards. Like he's not, and nobody completes a high percentage of balls that travel in the air over 25 yards. Your percentage goes down precipitously. But he does not complete a high percentage of balls down the field, mainly because Notre Dame doesn't have the prototypical go up and fight for the football guy. Like you even look at Greatwater's completion, the defender fell down and he's wide open. Great throw by Riley Leonard, put it right on his chest with Greathouse. But he's wide open.
Yeah.
The ball traveled, I think,
12 yards.
12 yards.
12 yards.
So that's what worries me. Brandon Sanders, hello. How are you? Dev MC, Grad Slacker, good to see you. Maury Alvarez, our favorite Floridian. What I wouldn't give for a weekend in Jupiter right now.
Dude. Got to talk about TGL at some point, too. That was
huge ratings for TGL, though.
Yeah.
Are you guys at all concerned that the college football playoff numbers are way down? Did you guys see this? That the college football playoff ratings are down massively. 17% for the semifinal. That's a huge number.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if we do some logic here, and I know we don't do that much in sports talk, Notre Dame and Penn State was on a Thursday night. Ohio State, Texas was on Friday night. You explain it to me because I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the only explanation is not competing with the NFL. The NFL had wild card weekend working, and I think I don't understand why you spread this out over 2 days. I don't understand. I would have, for me, I would have had it on Friday, and I would have done it in prime time on Friday.
I would have had it on Saturday, and I understand there are TV conflicts, or I would have had it on Saturday, and I would have split the two games. And if you got to do a morning and afternoon, those games have to be played on Saturday. And if you can't play them on Saturday, I agree. You got to play them both on Friday. But you cannot have a Thursday night semifinal game that draws, 17 million people?
Yeah.
That's not good enough.
Yeah, I mean, I almost feel like what they tried to create and failed miserably at was like, hey, let's try to fill that Thursday night football itch for football fans.
Yep.
And that just didn't pan out.
Maury says, morning boys, nowadays in the CFP, if you ain't paying, you ain't playing. Totally
That's
agree.
What I'm saying. Like, why are we trying to beat Ryan Day over the head? That's the new system.
And that's why you got to hit the like button. We have over 1,000 views today, and we've only got 32 likes. Please hit the like button.
Like button.
Oak State James, there he is, Mr. Mediocrity. James, you have to embrace who you are on the show.
Yeah, bro. Like, so you're tweeting at us yesterday saying that you don't like when we twist your words, and
Did he really?
Yeah, he tweeted us yesterday.
I'm not getting into my Twitter notifications.
Yeah,
I'm not here for it.
So my whole point here, James, is you got to embrace your character on the show, bro. You're like a thing on the show.
Yeah,
like,
you're the guy that routinely says stupid stuff, and that's your character. So have at it. Put it up. Oak State James, for those of you who don't know, is a diehard Oklahoma State fan. Tough existence. Totally get it. You guys never win. You never have. You never will. Probably too much of a blanket statement. But James routinely comes in here and says, "We're dominating the portal, Marty." They're not. He routinely comes in here and says, "Oh, look at Lane Kiffin's wife. Listen, I married an ugly woman because she's low maintenance." He said that. Then he comes in here and he's like, "Oh, my butthole's bleeding, so I'm going to be off the show for a day." Literally. Stop eating at Buc-ee's. Stop eating Buc-ee's brisket sandwich, and they're amazing. I love Buc-ee's.
Nobody's saying it sucks.
I've never been to
That's the problem. It's too good.
It's really good. This guy eats off the roller at fast food joints and convenience stores like daily.
Bro, I haven't eaten off the roller since 2 years ago now.
That's a lie.
That's not a lie.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Anyway, the point is, James, you just got to embrace who you are. Put in upper deck on Rice Eccles Stadium to block the mountain view.
Yeah.
No. So let's see what you said today. If by buy a championship you mean they bought in Chip Kelly to be the OC, then they bought a national championship. Exactly right. JC, hello. Travis, no, they haven't bought one yet, but that'll happen Monday. Man, I just pictured you doing a Fred Flintstone getting that speeding ticket.
Oh, we'll talk about that.
Jay Chapman. If Ohio State bought their championship, then from now on, everybody buys their championship.
Exactly.
It's exactly right. Steely, hello. Salty Paul is a total buffoon to me. I don't disagree. James, good morning. Paul Feinbaum is just mad everyone can buy players now. It's not just an SEC thing anymore. I think parity's real. JC, they're upset because these are unforeseen consequences that they created and are now realizing they can compete. I don't disagree with that at all. Chewy Gonzalez, SEC is slowly crumbling. Is it, though? I don't think it is.
I mean, I think crumbling's a bit strong, but,
Yeah. Big John, longtime listener, just bought a membership. Appreciate you, John.
Big John.
Really appreciate you. Oregon, Texas spent more. The money spent was to retain players. I don't disagree with that. Stadium guy James, the difference between the Ohio State and others is the Buc-ee's went out and got, he said Buckeyes, but I said Buc-ee's.
Buc-ee's, see what he did there? It's like Buckeyes and Buc-ee's.
The Buc-ee's went out and got the best OC they could. I don't disagree with that at all. Big John says, love how you guys aren't afraid to speak the truth. Appreciate that. Joshua, a lot of that money was spent on roster retention, not a whole new roster like some make it sound like. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree. Mr. Ohio. O-H. No. We gave you the blueprint. Don't hate, appreciate. Go Buckeyes. Wow. I don't think you're wrong with that at all. Wasakowskinator. Ben Johnson. Eric, what is Ben Johnson doing? You said Jake claims that there is a Pro Football Talk report that it's the Oakland we now move to Las Vegas Raiders or no job.
Yeah, yesterday I have alerts for certain people on Twitter just to stay up in the news. And I think they deleted the tweet because I couldn't find it again this morning. But yesterday I got an alert on my phone from Pro Football Talk saying that they weren't reporting it as fact. They did the classic, hey, Rumorville sources type deal. But they basically said that Ben Johnson and the Raiders are far down the line, and it appears that Ben Johnson is either going to stay in Detroit or, coach the Raiders. That the other jobs really aren't.
I hope that's not true. I agree. I think I said that on the show yesterday. I agree that the jobs that are open are crappy jobs. Outside of, because I think you can win in Chicago. We go to a Super Bowl a decade. So I think you can win in Chicago.
Yeah.
I don't believe you can win in Jacksonville. I don't believe you can win in New Orleans. I don't believe you can win in Las Vegas. I'm not sure if you can win in Dallas.
You don't think you can win in New Orleans?
They haven't. I think history is the best predictor of future. And I went like they had one run with Sean Payton and have not gotten close since. Like, and I agree, Dennis Allen is an elite defensive coordinator. He's not a head coach.
No.
But look at how they've churned. Look at their personnel decisions on a regular basis. Look at how they spend their money on a regular basis. I just don't think that that's a good job. But if you're Ben Johnson, can you go back to Detroit and turn down all these jobs? Josh McDaniel is a cautionary tale because the Raiders were a mess for him. In Chicago, they're saying that Ben Johnson does not want to report to Ryan Poles, that he wants to go directly to ownership. And I look at that and I say to myself, if you're the Chicago Bears, how do you hire a rookie head coach who's got no head coaching experience whatsoever and tell that head coach, hey, yeah, you don't have to go to the general manager or the president. You can go directly to the McCaskey family to make decisions.
Yeah, it's just a toxic trait.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
You're not giving Ben Johnson control of personnel in the roster.
No.
Ryan Poles, for everything that the Chicago Bears are not, Ryan Poles has actually done a good job building a roster. And I know it's, again, something that we don't want to talk about on this show, but I'm telling you, Caleb Williams had just as good a season as Jalen Daniels, and nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody wants to talk about that. And the numbers are eerily similar as we talked about the other day on the program.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jaden Daniels gets a lot of run in the media for how great his season is. And again, credit where credit's due. They're in the playoffs. So that's, he deserves a lot of credit for that. But just from a statistical standpoint, it's about the same season that Caleb Williams has.
And I just don't think, and this is just me, I just don't see that a guy like Ben Johnson deserves that kind of control. I don't see that. I truly do not see that he deserves that kind of control.
For me, I would agree with that, but I don't think it's about what he deserves. I think the Bears can't take a risk on a guy like that. You're not going to, from an organizational standpoint.
Then how are you ripping me on Mike McCarthy?
Well, I'm not ripping you on Mike. I just think that Cliff Kingsbury is a better hire.
I just wouldn't hire a guy whose head is shaped like a pork chop.
Yeah. I mean, come on, dude. Jerry said it himself. Come on.
The scary part for the Bears is Mike McCarthy left Chicago without a contract. Not happy about it. Eric says Jay Cutler never threw for 4,000 yards. Not as a Bear. As a Bronco, he did. As a Bear, his best season, probably 2014, 3,800 yards, 28 touchdowns, and 18 picks. The Bears have
Sounds
never
like a Jay Cutler season.
The Bears have never had a 4,000-yard passer. They've never had the league's leading passer. It's the reality of it. This team has never had a franchise quarterback until now. Chewy Gonzalez, SEC is starting to have a football crisis. Every team underperformed in bowl games, and I think ESPN is noticing.
Yeah, we've been down that road already.
Okay. I don't know how to make you guys get this point. When you're not in the college football playoff, who are you playing in your bowl game? On your roster, what guys are playing? Your 2s, 3s, and 4s. Go look at the Alabama snap count. What happens in the Jimmy Eats Ass Bowl doesn't matter. Nobody cares.
Hot ass.
Nobody cares what happens in the Garden Variety Bowl. Nobody cares. It doesn't matter. And when you talk about having a football crisis, if the SEC is having a football crisis, I want to be the SEC. I want to be the SEC because last time I checked, when I look at the college football playoff rankings, Georgia, Texas, Tennessee, Alabama, those are all ranked in the top 12. So you explain to me how they're having a football crisis.
Yeah, they're not.
When you say they're having a football crisis, Ole Miss at 14, they're having a football crisis? How many guys from the SEC are getting drafted this year? And they're having a football crisis? They're not. They're not. That narrative is just incorrect, man. That narrative is incorrect. It's why you have to hit the like button here on the Marty program.
Yeah.
Hit the like button.
Hold on, just one. The Jimmy Eats Ass Bowl. That was the best you could come up with.
That's it. That's all I got for you. That's what I do. Boyd Lake, good morning to you, sir. Mr. Bucknuts, 27-13 Buckeyes. I could see it. Troy Roach, 12 teams equals oversaturation. Does it, though? I think, are you telling me that this playoff setup is too many teams? I think it worked swimmingly.
Yeah, I don't think it's too many teams. I think what the college football playoff and the ESPNs of the world are struggling with a little bit here is the semifinal is on a much different day now. And so the vibe of the college football playoff is a little bit different because
can't have a Thursday night game.
Yeah, so that's not going to work. And that's why I'm saying, like, I don't know who decided to do Thursday and Friday. I hope that networks are picking up on this. You need to have 1 day per week at the college level where your biggest games are played during the college football playoff. Like, that's how it has to be, because what you're doing is you're telling football fans, hey, this is the day. Because I'm a big believer in this, man. And maybe I'm a little crazy for this, but I really do believe that if you say to college football fans specifically, a little different in the NFL, but college football fans, if you say, hey, Friday's the day, or better example yet, Thursday's the day, right? We're gonna have both games Thursday. First game's kicking off at 4 Eastern or whatever. Second game's gonna kick off at 7 Eastern.
Right.
All college football fans are gonna plan their entire week around Thursday.
I don't care what anybody says. Those games should have been on. College football fans watch college football.
Yeah.
Was anybody really locked on wild cards? I can tell you this: if the college football playoff semifinals had been on Saturday at 4:00 and 7:00, my ass would have been watching the college football playoff over the NFL, and probably I would have had picture-in-picture and done both.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you now, more people would have watched the college football playoff if it was on Saturday. I understand ESPN and ABC have massive conflicts because of the NFL. Totally get that. But I agree with Tamara. These games need to be on ABC, NBC, Fox, and CBS so more people have access to it.
Yeah.
But we as Americans have changed the way we watch TV. It needs to be more accessible on your cell phone.
Yeah, through one of the 800 subscriptions you have on a monthly basis.
Seriously, dude, seriously. Kale Mitchell, even as a Michigan
State. Ooh.
We're going to move on. No, I'm kidding. Are you really a Michigan State fan? I'm rooting for Ohio. You mean Ohio State? They deserve it. They didn't have to steal their signs to get there.
Sign stealer guy.
Okay, you redeemed the last sentence redeemed the first sentence.
Nice job, dude.
Cheating, lying, and then playing the victim.
Even though you're a cat guy, which...
What are we supposed to do with that, dude?
Enjoy the litter box. D-Rock Irish, man, how many... I am not a cat guy at all.
No.
I enjoy watching the cat videos where they slap dogs in the face and they tackle children. I enjoy those videos. I'm not a cat guy. D-Rock Irish, my guy, good morning. College football takes a backseat to the NFL. I would have loved to have seen and compare viewership numbers with a CFB NFL on Saturday. Me too. Because I'm a big believer that college football in a big game like Notre Dame, Penn State, Ohio State, Texas, for what amounted to the national championship game.
Right.
And it lived up to it. It was a really entertaining game.
Yeah.
I think that would have outdrawn the NFL. I truly, Ohio State and Texas in a head-to-head. And I mean, you can go back and pick because I actually thought the wild card weekend had a bunch of crappy games. That game would have outdrawn Texans Chargers. That game, would it have outdrawn Steelers Ravens?
I think it'd have been close. It definitely would have been close.
Would it have outdrawn, because those were the Saturday games.
Yeah.
I believe Notre Dame, Penn State would have struggled because, I don't know if you guys know this, Pittsburgh is in Ohio.
What?
So
What?
Pittsburgh is in the pedo state, Pennsylvania.
Yeah. The great Commonwealth.
I think the NFL probably wins that battle. But again,
the problem is, look at the scores in the NFL. This is the problem with last weekend's NFL slate. You had a bunch of not close games. You didn't really have, like, the Ravens were in control of that game. The Texans were in control of that game.
Was that game on Prime?
Yes, I believe it was.
It would have lost. It would have lost.
Yeah.
That game would have lost. I think that game was on Prime. That game would have lost to college football because it was on Prime.
Yeah.
There, in my mind, anyway. I don't know. You guys be the judge. You guys be the judge. You tell me what you think. You know, Grad Slacker, a member for 16 months.
Okay.
Monty, I know you want to talk OSU, but can you explain why Yukon isn't an option for the Mountain West for football only? Because it very easily answered. Yukon does not have an on-campus stadium. Yukon loses a ton of money on football. It's not even the Mountain West. Why is Yukon not an option, even though they negotiated with the Big 12? Because if you bring in Yukon as a football member, you're essentially subsidizing, you're paying for them to play football. They're not going to make you money. They don't have a fan base, and their fan base doesn't travel.
Yeah.
That's a basketball school, men's and women's. And the stadium situation is the biggest problem. They rent their stadium. They don't own it. It's why look at South Florida. South Florida is building an on-campus stadium for this exact reason.
I just think that the Yukon football to any conference situation is just such a forced thing because of their location, geographically speaking.
Exactly.
And then on top of that, the money situation. If it would be different if they were making great money from a percentage standpoint. Like if they were making $1 million in gross revenue and they were keeping 200,000, 300,000 of that, then okay.
Or if they were ever a serious contender to win a conference championship, or go to the college football playoff, or
I mean, you're the problem is Yukon football is a ball and chain around any conference's neck because because you want to add basketball.
Revenue. But you're talking about as a football only. They don't generate revenue. And for the Mountain West, they're way outside of the footprint, like the Texas State Pac-12 thing.
Yeah.
It's a great move for the Pac-12.
Yeah.
Is Texas State some football juggernaut? They're good. They're not elite, but it puts you in the state of Texas. Is Texas State better than UTEP or UTEP better? No. But you need to be able to have a foothold in Texas. It's why that's a really good move for the Pac-12. UConn is a football only in Storrs, Connecticut, and Hartford, and you're traveling to Fresno State.
Yeah.
That's not going to work. Or you're traveling to, if we're talking about the Mountain West versus the Pac-12 or whatever, you're traveling to Las Vegas. That's not, it just doesn't make sense, Grad Slacker. And I don't have a bone to pick necessarily with Yukon football, but Yukon football does not generate revenue for anybody, to answer your question. Great question. I appreciate asking. Noel Ramirez for $2. Uncle Monty is in one of his moods. I have a lot of, you know what? I've slept really well this week. I've gotten good REM sleep. I track my sleep.
As it pertains to sleep, are you the guy that keeps his fan on even though it's the winter?
No.
Or how do you do it at night? Like, does the thermostat stay at 66 or you let that thing go all the way down?
I'm not allowed to have the fan on. My wife lets me exist in her realm. I'll be honest with you. If you look at, I live in Salt Lake City. Our studio is in Salt Lake City.
And generally speaking, it's middle winter, lows are in the low 20s, like low is 21 today, high is 41.
The current temperature outside is 25 degrees.
Yeah.
If I were still in bed, or let's say it was 15 degrees overnight, which it's going to be on Monday, I would be under the covers with the heat. I think our heat at night is set to 61. I'd have the fan on medium. But again, my wife simply allows me to exist in her realm, so I'm not allowed to touch the controls of the fan. The remote control for the fan is on my nightstand, and I could turn it on anytime I want, but I'm too much of a punk ass who likes sex, so I don't, because it'll piss my wife off. All right, Eric Wasikowski. I'm leaning more towards Glenn staying now. I think so. That New Orleans job, I was talking to a guy yesterday who was telling me the New Orleans job is not an attractive job. That's going to be a first-time head coaching job, and I think it's not going to be Glenn. I think that Glenn understands Detroit right now is exactly where you want to be. They're on the precipice of a championship.
Yeah.
Which I think they probably don't. If Aiden Hutchinson was playing, I might be there. But they're on the verge of a championship. They spend money. They have talent. They're really developing players.
Yeah.
They're getting top end out of guys. I'm not going to New Orleans with no money. An ownership that doesn't necessarily want to win a championship. That's not their only existence. I'm not going there to fail, to get fired, to go back to being a coordinator. If I'm going to fail, I'm going to fail in Chicago. I'm going to fail with the Jets. Aaron Glenn should go be the Jets head coach.
Yeah.
If they offer it to him, but who knows? Stadium guy James for $10. I will admit Monty is right. Holy cow.
Whoa,
Stay home.
dude.
Holy cow.
Hold on.
Oak State fans should...
Dude, incredible moment on the show.
Oak State fans should expect playoff. Well, when did this change? I refused to wear orange until Gundy made changes. He hasn't made changes. What happened to Todd Monken? Okay. He got a new OC in DC.
Okay.
Got guys in the portal. No, he didn't.
Yeah, not really.
Stop. I want Oak State there in 2 years. You have not gotten a player of note in the portal, period. That's where the discussion. You got a backup quarterback.
Bro, just because you added guys in the portal doesn't mean you got guys that are actually going to make a difference for you. That's the hard part.
James, and I will just, I said this yesterday, and I'll continue to say it again. Where is Stribling? Oh, Dejon Stribling, he's this amazing. He doesn't play at Oak State anymore. He transferred. And if you look at the guys who are on the way out, Ollie Gordon's going to the NFL. Right? Like, you look at the guys you're losing far more than you've brought in. And I agree, Trip White is a nice addition. But if you look at the guys that you're losing, does Trip White replace Kendall Daniels, who is by any measure your best defensive player, who's going to Oklahoma? No, you have not brought anything in. Anything. Sidavini Kafusi is a nice player, but he doesn't change anything. There's no upward movement in recruiting. There's no upward movement in portal. And Oak State fans, I get it. On a regular basis, you're in the comments section and on our uploads. I'm sorry, Jalen Lloyd does not replace Stribling. It just doesn't. And again, I'll continue to tell you that guys like Sam Jackson and Diata, the kid from Virginia, is a nice pickup. These are all 2- and 3-star players. And you get what you put out. And when you have Mike Gundy talking about, oh, well, we couldn't afford him. You think 4- or 5-star players in the portal are going to be like, well, hot damn, that's where I want to go play. No, they're not. So when you talk about Haas Hengy, he's a backup, or he better be a backup court. If Hengy is your starting quarterback next year, dude, I give up.
I knew today would be shitty.
I give up.
Yeah.
Shamar Rigby, the wide receiver from Purdue. Well, congratulations, my guy.
Yeah, it's as easy as it gets. You've added some guys. They're not guys of consequence.
You're not going to see significant change. Do you understand that you cut Mike Gundy's contract sizably? And you're sitting here saying,
so you could go and do that in the portal?
I took off my orange. Okay. Don't take off your orange. Just stop sending them money. Don't take off your orange. Write letters. Call people. Send emails to the athletic director and the president. Because I got news for you, James. You're the guy who was on this show last year talking about Ollie Gordon after his DUI running stairs as a punishment. You have no culture. That's the biggest issue. Boyd Lake Gundy ran off an All-American offensive tackle. He's not the guy. He's not. He's not the guy. Damian Fowler.
Dude.
Damian Fowler? That sounds familiar. What's up, fellas? I'm back. Hope you guys had a good vacation. Your Irish going to pull off the unthinkable, Monty? No. I wish.
Monty.
I wish. Good to see you, Damian. Try 10 degrees in the Mitten State, dude.
Oh, I'm not saying Salt Lake is the coldest. The Midwest is way colder than Salt Lake right now. Yeah. I'm not saying we're colder than. Yeah.
Lawrence Hatcher. I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan, and if the Cowboys lost to Philadelphia Eagles twice in that year but won the Super Bowl, I could care less. Makes no sense, that argument. But culturally speaking, at Ohio State, you have to beat Michigan. Because Ferris Khan's going to be in here someday talking about how many days it's been since you beat Michigan.
Oh, it's 871,
On the bright side, Oak State beat an SEC team this season. There you go.
Man.
There you go. Sean Schrock. Good to see you, Sean. Hey, Mike Gundy is a man. He's 40. That's right.
Dude, you know what I mean? Like, it's.
I'm a man.
David Persons for $5. Thank you, David. TCU went from natty to 5-6 to 9-4. And with how they're doing in the portal next season, they play whoever at least in the college football semis, I hope.
Yeah, I think they're building the right direction.
They are.
I think you've got a great passing attack. The defense, I think, is the bigger question. And we'll have to see how they round out that roster through the portal as the offseason goes on. But that was the biggest thing for TCU is that you had this great offense, but when you were playing against competent teams, you struggled to stop them. So you were playing just high scoring games and just trying to get into shootouts with people.
Yeah, I think TCU lost a lot of guys in the portal. There's no doubt about that. I mean, it's simply a matter of, can you get the best out of, Keelan Jackson, the safety from LSU? Can you get that's what you need. You need Elijah Jackson from Washington to turn into a star because TCU is going to score a ton of points. You've got to stop guys. And in this league, dude, you got to play defense.
Mm-hmm.
You got, and I know that everybody's going to say, well, Marty, you're just a homer. But you want to talk about seismic changes? That's Utah. And I'm not saying Utah is, but when you look at Utah, and you look at the talent that Utah is bringing in, and whether that be Justin Stevenson from Wyoming, which I thought was a really good signing. Now, you lost Tanavasa to BYU. That's a kick in the balls any way you slice it. There is no way to feel good about that. But you look at all the dudes that you brought in, and you got to feel good about Devin Green from UNLV. You got to feel good about Holtzclaw, the edge rusher from Washington. You got to feel good about, you look at the offensive changes, and you look at the fact that you brought in a quarterback who is Dampier, who's one of the leading passers, with his offensive coordinator, his running back, and his quarterback. You got to feel good about that's a seismic change, not retreading coordinators and having no talent coming with them.
Yeah.
That's not a seismic change. And I don't know how do you replace Jack Bomeister, the punter? He's the best punter in college football.
You don't replace him. He's
that's
going
to hurt. But Nakiri Rogers, that makes you feel a little better. You look at Devin Dampier, who is one of the best available quarterbacks in the portal, that makes you feel a little better. The fact that Cam Rising's done at Utah makes you feel a little better. That rain cloud is now gone.
Chapter's closed. Time to write a new one.
Seismic change. You can't get around seismic change. And that's what's needed at a lot of programs in the Big 12. Theo Cooper. Hello, Theo. It's crazy how people talk about Ohio State buying their team. There's only 3 players that are new, but nobody talks about Texas and Oregon who spent way more.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's why I have such an issue with what Feinbaum said. I really do believe if you look at that statement and you have this knowledge, you understand this point that 95% plus of that Ohio State defense is 3-year guys or more, right? They're 3- and 4-year guys.
There's more Jack Sawyer.
Yeah,
on that defense. You look at the guys that they recruited, and Deion Sanders talks about this a lot. We talk about it a lot. It doesn't matter what you do on National Signing Day if those guys never see the field and they're in the portal a year from now. Because there's 2 things that every high school kid wants: playing time and money. And the ability to make more money. That's all they care about.
Yeah.
So if you're Ohio State, and you say to Caleb Downs, who straight up told you, I want to win a national championship. Well, guess what? He's going to win a national championship on Monday night. So what is that? And I bring that up because what does that do? It allows you to go to the biggest and the best programs and take their best players. You can pay them. Nobody makes more money than Ohio State year after year. So you can pay them. You can play them, and they can be confident they're going to win, regardless of the Michigan game. But I agree with you largely. Let's see. Steely. Michigan fans have disowned Ferris. He has embarrassed them all year on the podcast he goes on. I love.
Yeah, it's not that serious.
I like Ferris. He's never right about Michigan. At least Wasikowski can have honest conversations. Ferris Khan was in here telling us that Alex Orji was going to be the next Heisman Trophy quarterback at Michigan. Yeah. And how many times did I tell you that cat can't throw the football? This was always going to be a down year. Mr. Ablation himself, Jim Harbaugh. Did you see that Jim Harbaugh is having another heart procedure?
Dude. And I think knee thing as well, or was it hip
replacement?
Yeah.
At least the sane Michigan fan will tell you it's not great that we cheated, but we still won, and I'm thrilled we won a championship. Okay, I can get down with that.
I can respect that.
The Ferris Khans of the world will tell you, oh, we never cheated. There's no proof.
He's a lone wolf.
Come on. Oh, the one NCAA hammer. Okay. No, they were just buying cheeseburgers for hungry kids, Marty.
Sure.
Whatever. Ferris Khan. OSU beating teams that are not Michigan doesn't mean they can beat Michigan. They're better than Michigan. Simple as that. 1874 days since OSU beat Michigan. There you go. When stars align. Thank you, Monty. Appreciate your fairness, your fair assessment of Coach Day and Will Howard and the insane hatred against this team, which I still don't understand to this day.
Yeah.
And I'm not even an Ohio State fan. So it is what it is. Boyd Lake, who is the SEO king of America. FBS teams that can develop players and have healthy approach to NIL will succeed all day long.
Yeah, and that's the thing that
Ding.
I again, this Feinbaum take, that's the thing that's so short-sighted about the Feinbaum take.
Yes.
is that you're insinuating with this take here that Notre Dame's success is somehow because they've just developed everybody and they didn't go and get anybody.
Nah, bro.
And that Ohio State's success is they've developed nobody and bought everyone. And we know both of those things are untrue. They both developed guys. They both added dudes in the portal. And it just so happened that Ohio State won that battle, which is why we're probably going to see an Ohio State victory play out on the field. And there's nothing wrong with that. So again, that's why I say, again, I'm not a big, tinfoil hat guy with the media, right? I'm not the guy that's going to tell you the media is just trying to stir the pot. The media has a job to do, right? They're called opinion makers for a reason. They have a topic. They're paid to create a new opinion on that topic pretty regularly. Paul did not do well with this particular one. And I don't believe Paul should be speaking on Notre Dame and Ohio State on a regular basis. Paul should stick to what he knows, which is the SEC and happenings in that conference. And when he does that, things go fine. when he steps out of his element, things don't go fine.
And he says stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. A couple more because then we do have to move on. Look at you guys with the paid comments today. We really appreciate that. Just so you know, all of the money you give to us goes into infrastructure on the show. We have studio space we have to pay for. We have cameras. We have to make this look good, which is really difficult to make this what's on your screen now look good.
It's not good, dude.
It's not good at all. We appreciate you guys giving us paid comments, leaving us tips, supporting our sponsors, including the advocates at theadvocates.com.
Hitting the like button.
If you have not hit the like button, please hit the like button. It really helps the channel grow. All of that money goes into infrastructure, and we are in a push right now to
grow.
Do some pretty amazing things on the show.
By the way, you were telling me we got some DMs that we made the Coach Prime show, apparently.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. But apparently one of our sound bites is on Coach Prime's show on Prime Video. Multiple people said, "Hey, you're big time, thank you," or "You're big time, congratulations." I have not seen that.
Yeah.
Which is why I wasn't going to mention it until I could confirm that it was true. But
yeah. But multiple people have DM'd us saying they heard it. So
yeah.
We haven't confirmed it, but
yeah. So we appreciate all of your paid comments. It really makes a difference for the show. Wasikowski, I'm leaning more towards Glenn staying now for $2.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I think I read that one. The Stadium Guy James for $10. Oh, and I read this one too. Why is it just showing that to me now? I don't know. Oh, here they are. Wasikowski, I might be an asshole, but I'm an honest asshole. Yeah, dude, Eric, I don't dislike you. You're a big part of the show. You contribute to the show on a regular basis. I appreciate that you're here every day. I love talking NFL. I'm thrilled for you with Detroit. I hate Michigan, but it is what it is. Yeah. I got one of the worst. I'm going to tell a speeding ticket story in about 40 minutes. I got one of the worst speeding tickets I ever got was in the state of Michigan. On a bright, sunshiny day, I got a ticket for driving in the left lane on the freeway for $250. I'll never forget that. Stadium Guy James, $5. I took my wife to the New Mexico Bowl. Josh Hooper is a legit QB.
Well, I don't know who,
See, James, you try.
Yeah, it's a really good effort, dude.
And I'm sitting here contemplating if I want to read the rest of this comment. I will. Josh Hooper, never heard of him, is a legitimate QB. TCU will contend for the Big 12 next year. Hope to start DMing at TCU next fall.
What do you mean by that?
Who are you going to DM it? You should be DMing people at Oak State so you guys win games. He means Josh Hoover, who he of 4,000 yards passing and 27 touchdowns in 11. How did they lose so many? Oh, they can't stop anybody. That's right.
Yeah.
What do you mean DMing? I don't know what that means. What do you mean? RJC Man for $2. Z-Rock, no might, not it. Okay.
Okay. Well, appreciate it, dude. As always, thank you.
Speaking of characters on the show, what do you mean? Larry McDonald, Michigan was really relevant in the World War I era, and they are desperate to re-achieve that relevance. Well,
yeah, I think Michigan's always relevant on some level, dude. That's the hard part.
Yeah, I agree. David Persons, thanks, James. Joseph Carruthers, does the New Mexico Bowl have an upper deck?
Nice.
So good. Doctorate of Ministry. How would anybody know that?
Got it.
How would... So James
in
is...
God's name, image, and likeness.
These are all true statements. James is a minister. James is writing a book about pedophilia in the priesthood. James eats 3 squares a day at Buc-ee's. James said on the show his wife was ugly.
God bless.
And James doesn't like winning football games. Those are all facts, and they are undisputed.
So get your facts straight.
I think at James with the DM in comment is a ministry thing. Okay, well, you're smarter than me.
Yeah, I had no idea that DM meant doctorate of ministry.
No idea. I thought you were trying to get into my DMs. Giggity, my dude. Good to see you. Good to see you. The New Mexico Bowl, where husbands take their... Oh, my God.
Dude.
James, you're never getting away from that comment. Mainly because I keep bringing it up.
Great comment, dude.
This is elite. This is why I get up at 4 o'clock every day.
Dude, seriously, I needed that. That's epic, Giggity, dude. That is so good.
So good. So good. Yes, dude, that abides. Mateo, smash. Look at the 25 years. Michigan won a lot of games when they wore bomber winter hats.
Dude, you're arguing with Smash. Don't do that. That's not good for your health.
James, you are a legend. You are, James. See, but Oak State, James, this is what you have to embrace.
Yeah.
You're a huge part of the show. You're a character on the... It's what Tanner Plummer was never able to embrace because he banned us from doing the Tanner voice, right?
Mm-hmm.
We used to have a voice that we would do anytime Tanner commented. Tanner Plummer, the Eagles fan. He got so pissed about it. You have to embrace it. You're a character on the show. You are a legend. Dude that abides. Stop. Exactly. JG, hammer about to drop on Michigan after Natty game is over at some point.
It'll be curious. I'm curious to see what they will do. Yeah.
Boyd Lake says, Giggity, that was an all-timer. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Carruthers, Albuquerque, New Mexico. Weird Al's dream town. Seriously.
Yeah.
Hey, Cam Harrison. Shout out to Mo Bamba. Good to see you, Cam.
Okay.
Appreciate you for
Shout out to Mo Bamba.
Cam, a long timer. Good to see you. We got to talk about Devin Booker in a minute, by the way. Fat Jesus, Giggity. Yes.
Dude,
all
great material.
How much are those birds going to lose by? Birds. Eagles?
Is that an Eagles reference or?
Wow! Holy fuck, Teddy!
Oh my God, dude! This is a family show.
That was off. I apologize,
dude.
Teddy Wayman on the show.
You? Hold on. Let's see.
What's an erection?
Dude, the beard is back.
Hey guys, hope all is well. Just wanted to pop in and say hello. I still watch, just can't catch your show live. Appreciate you, Teddy. Theodore.
Damn, Teddy.
Theodore. Good to see you, dude.
Bro.
Good to see you.
That's incredible.
I would say we should go to a Jazz game, but nobody goes to Jazz games. So, Teddy, good to see you. How much are the Eagles going to lose by? That's a really interesting point. Did you guys hear about this Eagle fan?
We got to talk about this, dude. Okay, so first question before we play the video.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys enjoy going to football games? Like and being around the crowd? Is that like I don't really enjoy that all that much.
I don't, as somebody who talks about football and analyzes football, and I've said this routinely forever, you can't go to a football game and see what you need to see.
Yeah. It turned sideways for somehow.
You can't, and I just don't love being around large crowds.
Mm-hmm.
You have the video of this.
I do.
Is it edited?
It is edited, yes. However, there is text on the screen that the original video person put there. So
just understand the audio is edited. But
yeah,
this is what Eagle fans are doing.
Hey, the runner was short of the goal line. They got one more yard though. They're close. Yeah, but we're not in. It's not a touchdown. Yeah. So you don't jerk off. Come in the air. Okay, well, don't call her. Don't. She's an ugly dumb. Cool. Into the third quarter. Yup.
First of all, what are we doing? What are we doing?
The Eagles have banned this fan from the stadium for life. the Eagle fan who used that horrendous language.
Yeah.
He lost his job for this. He was fired from his job. Now, there is some controversy, and I don't know why Eagles fans think that this is at all relevant. The guy that was the Packer fan who was videotaping this is a social media influencer.
Okay.
Who wore a body camera to document his trip, and he had a GoFundMe to pay for this trip to Philadelphia to see the Packer game. I don't think that's relevant at all. I just don't care. But this is who Eagles fans are, and it's horrendous to me that this happens regularly. We've talked about fighting at stadiums in the past. I don't understand going out in public and like throwing hands, getting into physical altercations. I don't understand going to sporting events and getting blackout drunk. Sadly, again in Philadelphia, this fan was brutally sober and was attacking this woman verbally. This is a terrible look for Philadelphia because it happens over and over again. But is this not why Philadelphia sports fans are largely considered the worst fans in sports?
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're a Philadelphia sports fan and you think you're the best. I think it is. This is what's wrong with sports right now. I've never understood this.
Yeah, I just don't understand, why people are this way. Like, and who knows? Like, maybe he's intoxicated or whatever. Maybe he's not. But the reality of the situation is that you can't treat people this way. And I don't understand whether it's on a golf course, at a football game, at a basketball game, a hockey game. Like it's literally any time you're out in public with other humans and they just do whatever the hell they want to do. And they don't think about like the repercussions of it. And again,
it's wild to me that you don't think about. And this dude, the best part about this dude losing his job, he was in a position dealing with equality. His company is a company that deals with equality. And here you are calling that word to me is a horrendous word. I don't believe that. First of all, why did you, if you're this dude with the body camera, because this guy and his wife are at this game, why did you not switch seats with her? Why did you not trade places with her when you have a guy standing right behind her, attacking her verbally?
Yeah.
Did you not call security? Did you not? I would not allow my wife to stand there and be subjected to that. I would not. I would not. I would have gone to security and had that guy removed. And you can say, I'm that guy. Okay, cool. I'm that guy. You're not going to, but I'm also not going to get into a physical fight with him or whatever. It's terrible.
Yeah. I just think that it's too often now that we just think we can do whatever we want. The idea, and this is more pertains to guys. Obviously I can speak on it, but like the idea that guys now just don't take it seriously, like going about your day with some class, some pride, like doing things the right way is wild. And I just don't enjoy being around. The crowd thing doesn't bother me as much as being around just crappy people. That's the thing. Like I
don't love big crowds.
I don't mind. Like if we're like, if we're, going to someone's house that's a friend and there's like 20 or 25 people there, that doesn't bother me as much.
Right.
Because the people are good and it's an enjoyable experience. But football games, I just feel like when you go to a football game now, unless you're going with like 8 people and you've all got seats next to each other and you can and build that kind of environment, you're going and asking to be subjected to this type of behavior. And it's really sad to say that, but I feel like that's what it is. And I don't know how we fix that. And I can tell you,
I don't know either.
I would much rather be at home, make my own great food, watch the game on my own big TV,
smoke some wings or something.
Yeah,
or
like it's just such a more enjoyable experience in addition to actually being able to see what's going on in the game.
Yeah, it's wild to me. And all Eagles fans are not like this, but when I think of fan bases I do not enjoy in dealing with, the Philadelphia Eagles come to mind.
Mm-hmm.
The Philadelphia Eagles, Michigan Wolverine fans that have their heads in the sand. I'm a guy, I truly believe that when you're talking about, especially if it's your team, like for me, Notre Dame, the Bears, the Bulls, certainly the Cubs, you have to take your emotion out of it if you're going to talk any kind of who's going to win this game. If you're a Buckeyes fan, take your emotion out of it. If you're an Irish fan, take Eagles fans always go to you're fat, you're dumb, you're a C, you're a come on. And I think Fat Jesus makes the best point. I'm the only dumb C on this show.
Yeah. Obviously.
It's brutal. It's brutal to me. Welcome to the nightmare. I see so many videos with in stadium fights and how crazy fans get at sporting events. It's absolutely ridiculous, regardless of you're sober or not. How do you see nightmare? That is my point.
Yeah.
How do you go and get physical? How do you go and punch somebody in the face? Like, I've never understood that. I have a vivid memory as a high school kid of watching these two guys have a fight at Round Lake High School. Outside, I can see the lockers, I can see the floor, and I'll never forget this one kid punched another kid in the face, and the kid hit his head on the ground. And the kid that punched him in the face then kicked him, and I went and tackled the kid that was kicking him. I remember, like, I'm a big dude, right? I've always been bigger than somebody of my same age. I remember this kid, Ryan Zagorski, took my brand new Louisville Slugger wood bat and threw it into a puddle. We had this big field when I was a kid that we played baseball in. And I could always hit really well. And so I hit a home run and I was running around the bases, and it had rained growing up in the Midwest. Who knew? He took my bat and threw it into this puddle, and I chased him down, and I will never forget punching him in the face. And I can close my eyes and see the look on his face after I punched him in the face. And I felt terrible about it. That's the last time I ever got into a physical altercation. It's just not going to happen. And I can't imagine going to a game and physically assaulting somebody else or saying that kind of horrible stuff to somebody's wife. Could not imagine it. Could not imagine it. Lawrence says, wait a minute, the same Eagles stadium that had a courtroom in the basement? Exactly right. Exactly right. David, Monty, did you see the Ohio State University cut Caden Davis from the roster for the off-field activities? Had something to do with social media. A kid who hadn't dressed, he never played a snap.
Yeah.
And we don't know what he did.
He did something.
So what do you have to do to get cut from a football team the week before a playoff game? I don't know, but he did something. He did something. Red Wine, good morning to you. There will always be degenerates. The jumping gem is the problem. Is amounts. Okay. I think people lose control of themselves, and I don't know why. Not sure why anyone is surprised when Eagles fans act stupid. They have a long history of acting like this. They do. That's the sad thing. I don't go out to sporting events anymore. The level of civility is at an all-time low.
Yes.
I agree. He was intoxicated. What he was is intentional, which is so sad. It was. And he didn't look drunk in the video. Had no problem saying it multiple times.
Yeah.
Fortunately, he has paid a price times two. Correct. Brandon Butler. Hockey and soccer are fun with crowds. Better live. Baseball is fairly chill. Football and basketball not as good live anymore. I think hockey is the best sport to see live.
Yeah. I will say, though, there is something to being at a ballpark in certain cities for a night game. And that first pitch during twilight is elite.
I love going to games. I don't go to football games in person. Some college games I'll go to, but mainly not. I love NBA in person is way better than on TV.
Yeah.
Hockey, you have to go to in person. Soccer, having been to Liverpool and Chelsea, I can tell you it's different in person.
Yeah.
Way different in person. Loner phone. Jets fan last year punched a lady in the face. 0 men did a thing. Hey, man. Any man that's going to hit a woman, basketball games are the only game really that the game is better live. Hockey for sure
is elite live.
Hockey for sure. If I go to a live football game, I stick to home, but hockey is amazing anywhere. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you. 100%. Violence is not the answer. College football is pain. I love college football.
Yeah.
Who is in for Monty Show Fight Club? Exactly.
Well, first rule Fight Club is you don't talk
Can't talk about it.
Yeah.
Mayor McCluskey, hello. He says, count me in. The eye patch. Philly fans throw snowballs with rocks at Santa, so their behavior is never surprising. I guess I shouldn't be surprised, right? I miss the days of going to a fight and watching a hockey game break out.
Right.
I don't understand this whole thing with like lacrosse where it's okay to go and punch. The whole fighting thing, swinging your helmet at another human being in football. Fighting in football is so stupid. Do you know how many guys get injured severely fighting in football?
Yeah.
A lot. Steely, hockey and baseball, best live sporting events. Dude, I cannot wait to pay my Cubs season ticket bill next week. I have Chicago Cubs season tickets.
Yeah.
We're going to Chicago for opening weekend.
Mhm.
Did you buy your airfare?
Yeah.
Yeah, so did I. I'm super stoked. Cannot wait.
Mhm.
Cannot wait. Hockey and baseball, best live sporting events. Glenn, good morning. Hockey is intense in person. Yes, it is. And when you cover a hockey team, do you know how much pain there is in hockey? Hockey, ooh. Sergeant Green, hello. As a Cleveland sports fan, sigh, yes. Deshaun Watson is getting ugly with the Browns. It is not.
His career is over.
I
would
agree
be
with
shocked to ever see him take another snap.
I agree with that. I couldn't imagine fighting someone every time my team loses. Bro, welcome to Chicago.
Well, that's the funny thing about that game, right? They won that game pretty easily.
Yeah. I love going to football games. Delaric says, I guess I'll be going to a Stars game. You should. You really should. Hockey and soccer are both amazing live. Yes, they are. Glenn, unfortunately, I morphed into a different person both times I attended hockey games. I still ponder why. I just don't understand it. I will admit, I love, like sitting in the sports book at Aria last week, screaming about Penn State fans being pedophiles. Was amazing.
We're different that way.
Why do you say?
That was so uncomfortable.
But people loved it.
Yeah.
Then again, I'm rooting for a Catholic football team. So, okay, let's move on. That's awkward. Joseph Carruthers, I like the atmosphere of going to a college football game. Totally different. Zona Tucson 93. What's going on, Zona? Good to see you. Can we talk about the Bears real quick? Ben Johnson is the leading candidate for the Las Vegas Raiders coaching job. And I am shocked. With all the Midwest fans in here, I probably shouldn't ask this question out loud. Is the Bears job better than the Raiders job? There's something we don't know about Ben Johnson and the Bears.
Yeah.
And speaking of Wasikowski, I think we had this conversation on the show. It's always been difficult for me to see Ben Johnson leaving the Detroit Lions to take the Chicago Bears job. There is something different about Detroit and Chicago as a rivalry. There is something different about leaving the Detroit Lions to be the head coach of the Chicago Bears. You can't do that. Apparently, Ben Johnson wanted to, because originally we had heard that Ben Johnson was only serious about the Patriots and the Bears. Apparently, that wasn't true, because reports say that Ben Johnson is going to get the Raider job. One report from Pro Football Talk yesterday allegedly said that it was the Raiders' job or he wasn't going to take a job this cycle. And so I say, and here's the question I would put to you directly, is it Ben Johnson or is it the Chicago Bears? Because they seem like a perfect fit on the surface. Ben Johnson's a developer of quarterbacks. He's a quarterback guru. You have one of the best young quarterbacks in the NFL in Caleb Williams. What are we talking about? Well, then you hear that Ben Johnson is a very awkward interview. Didn't interview well last cycle. Didn't wind up getting a job. Then you hear that NFL front office personnel compare Ben Johnson to other coaches who awkwardly didn't do well with the Raiders, Josh McDaniel. Then you hear that Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions, who's done a phenomenal job, that Ben Johnson wants to report directly to ownership and have final say over the offensive side of the roster. Is any of that true? I don't think we'll ever know. But let's assume it is true. Is it Ben Johnson or the Chicago Bears? Because I would say that's Ben Johnson, because if I'm the Chicago Bears, I'm not hiring a guy from Detroit. I'm not hiring a guy who doesn't interview well. I'm not hiring a guy that's compared to Josh McDaniel. I'm not hiring a guy who wants to report directly to ownership. I'm not hiring a rookie head coach and giving him roster control. That does not seem like a good fit to me. And the point about the Chicago Bears that I would make is they can't afford a risk. So then you hear that Mike McCarthy, and it warms my soul as though it was a fresh glass of bourbon on a cold winter night.
What's an erection?
The Bears flew in Mike McCarthy from Dallas on a private jet. They brought him to Hallis Hall in Lake Forest. They interviewed him for 11 hours. And then he left. And he didn't get an offer to be the head coach of the Chicago Bears. Jake, should I be worried?
I don't know that I'd say you should be worried. I think Mike was never going to take the job on the spot. I think that, Mike is somebody who's coveted and is going to probably interview for every open job, or most of them, which he should do. That's part of the process. But I think that, the thing that I'm not hearing that I think should concern you is, hey, talks were amazing. Talks are advancing. Like with the Dion and Jerry stuff, we're hearing, hey, they're going to talk all week. They're going to try to get something done. Like they're very, they're advancing. And you don't really hear that with the Bears McCarthy stuff. You hear that he interviewed for 11 hours and, he's going to interview for every open job. So it doesn't seem like the Bears job for Mike maybe is the top priority based on the reporting. And that's the part that I think is a little bit concerning because as a Bears fan, what you don't want to happen is you don't want Mike to take the Jet job or another comparable job and then have to fall back onto Cliff. What you would much prefer to happen is for you to make your head coaching hire, but while both of those guys are available, so you can then say, hey, this is the guy that we chose. We interviewed everybody. We felt he was, the best guy for the opportunity. So to me, I wasn't expecting them to hire him on the spot, but it is concerning to me that we're not getting the reporting out of the Schefters of the world or, whoever you follow, that talks are advancing and it's looking like something will get done. I did expect that.
I expected them to make him an offer. I expected the Chicago Bears. You don't fly a guy in like Mike McCarthy, and unless it tanks and he's terrible, I expected an offer. And Brandon Butler, the Bears have met the Rooney Rule. They have met the Rooney Rule. And you look at who the Bears have interviewed, including Ron Rivera, you have to interview a wide variety of candidates, including minorities, for every head coaching job. They have done that. And I just look at it. If you interview Mike McCarthy, you better be serious about making him an offer.
Yeah, the Bears have interviewed Thomas Brown, Ron Rivera, Aaron Glenn, David Shaw. They've met that requirement.
They've met the Rooney Rule.
Well past over what the minimum is.
I thought they would make Mike McCarthy an offer. I really did. Delaric, if Mike doesn't end up with the Bears, he'll be a saint. I think. And there's been some talk about this. And here's a text from an NFL friend of mine saying that Mike McCarthy is either taking the Bears job or would like to interview with the Jets. I think the Saints job is very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that Mike McCarthy needs to take a job this cycle. Like, I think Ben Johnson in Detroit needs to take a job this cycle because he didn't take a job and who cares? Was he offered? Was he not? Like, okay,
yeah.
He didn't take a job last year.
Yeah.
You're never going to be a hotter candidate than Ben Johnson is now. And if he doesn't get an offer from the Raiders, and if he gets that offer and doesn't take it, I think that's a mistake, because I think he's a better fit with the Raiders than the Bears.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think the hard part with Ben Johnson is, I guess I kind of have like the ick with Ben Johnson. I don't like the reporting that's come out about him. I don't like the whole concept of like roster control and just reporting to ownership. Like that type of personality is not someone I want in my organization. I want a head coach that understands the structure of the building, understands the vision the front office has, and is willing to communicate within that structure.
That's very true.
And I'm not interested in, and I would say, you know, obviously growing up, I grew up in like the Brian Urlacher era, Rex Grossman, like those were the players that were on the Bears when I was growing up. And you know, the hardest part is I just don't feel like the Bears have had a vision on how to win until it was, you know, polls in the front office. And so now it's like, hey, you've got this nice thing cooking with Caleb and the wide receiver room and the defense, and you need some help on the offensive line. But if you bring in Ben Johnson and he's not willing to play nice in the sandbox and work within the structure you have, you can't hire that guy.
No, and I think, again, I just continue to go back to this point. Everything you do from here forward has to be about making Caleb Williams the best quarterback that he can be, reaching that top end. And Ben Johnson, on its face, that's Ben Johnson. He has done what he's done with Jared Goff is remarkable, right? Like there's no way to spin the way that he uses his wide receivers, the way that he uses his running backs. Everything they do on offense in Detroit is purposeful.
Yeah.
It's thought out. It's schematic. It is tactical. He has done a great job there. I think the biggest issue that I have with the Bears is that doesn't exist in Chicago.
Right.
He's a great fit. But all that other stuff, Mike McCarthy's the right guy.
Yeah.
He's the right guy for that job.
Yeah, I would say Mike McCarthy as a hire is the safest hire. It's the most reliable hire. I would even go as far as to say it's got the highest chance to work out the way you'd like it to. Now, again, for me, when we talk about, you know, getting Caleb to do what you want him to do, getting the offense to go the direction you want, Mike can do that. He's shown he can do that in Dallas and before that in Green Bay. But I personally just like the way Cliff Kingsbury goes about it. I like what he did with Kyler Murray. I like what he did at the college level. And I think
Daniels.
And yeah, obviously what he's doing now. You know, so I just feel like he's got a lot of experience with young guys and working with them to get the most out of them.
And it's very much Ben Johnson, because in Washington, why has their offense been so much better? He's taken the best parts of that offense and continued that.
Yeah.
And then he's taken guys like Terry McLaurin, who was, I don't think anybody argues, Terry McLaurin was horrendously misused in Washington. Cliffy gets there, and now look at the route tree that McLaurin is running. He's not running those stupid underneath, give me the ball in the middle of the field at 5 yards and let me get popped.
Yeah.
He's using his speed. He's using his quickness, double moves, down the hash, down the number. Like, that's what this Bears offense
he's being
needs.
used the right way, no doubt.
That's what this Bears offense needs. I don't disagree with you. I think Cliff Kingsbury would be a really good hire. Mike McCarthy has been there. He has done that. He has developed Aaron Rodgers. He has developed a team and won a Super Bowl. Mike McCarthy's the right guy, and I'll die on that hill.
And that's why I say, like, my point about, like, you don't want to wait to make the hire official with whoever you're going to hire after Mike takes the Jet job or like takes another job. You don't want it to seem like it's a fallback. And so that's why your point about hey, they didn't offer him while he was there. Well, okay, you didn't offer him, but like today's Thursday, bro. If you don't hire someone by like Monday, Tuesday, like
the only plausible explanation for that is Washington loses this week. They're not beating Detroit. Washington loses this weekend. There better be a Jet sitting there warming up, waiting for Cliffy to get on it.
Yeah. My only concern, and we'll obviously talk about this a lot more tomorrow. My only concern for the Washington game is Detroit shown a propensity
Don't say it. Don't say
give up the big play.
Don't say
They have. They did it last year. What did everyone say?
I'm feeling really good about my Detroit pick.
And you should be. But I don't know, man. Again, we're in that time of the year. Much like with Ryan Day and Ohio
Lions
State
are
on
9
Monday.
points, 55.5.
This game, everyone said, oh, well, Bills in Denver, that, Bills should be on upset alert. This is the game where I say, hey, you need to be careful. You need to be disciplined playing against him.
Well, you're at home. Detroit's at home. We'll preview all these games. Trust me, I will slob the Lions tomorrow.
You're actually going to say something nice about Jared Goff?
Okay, let's not get carried away. That Jesus. McCarthy's only demand is that he doesn't report to Jera. I agree
Seriously.
with that. They're going to hire Dion, you guys. There was a report this morning from the Sheftinator that they are much more serious about hiring Deion Sanders than anybody realizes.
Yeah!
I think they're going to try. Do you think we hear more Cowboys talk because Jerry likes the attention and being in the spotlight versus the Bears moving in silence?
Well,
that's an interesting point.
I think you're going to hear more reporting on the Cowboys stuff, certainly. But
just because of the size of the fan base.
Yeah, let's not give the McCaskies too much credit here. The Bears don't move in silence.
The McCaskies.
Yeah, the Bears don't. The Bears are not, cold-blooded killers in the ownership. Yeah,
it's just the Bears. I say this about all my teams. Nobody gives a flying flip about the Bears.
Mm-hmm.
You hire McCaskey, you hire
McCarthy.
Or you hire McCarthy, you hire Cliffy. Does that really move the needle in the NFL?
I think if you hire McCarthy, it would. Yeah. I think people will rave about that hire if you get it done.
Read that one already. JC, thanks for the show, everyone. Have a stupendous day. You too, my guy. McCarthy to the Jets. Is he a glutton for punishment? Don't do it, Mike. I actually think the Jets are ready to win. I think Woody Johnson is tired of losing, and they have a really talented roster. I think the Bears and the Jets are in very similar situations. You don't think the Jets have a talented roster?
No, I think they have talent on the roster. I think ready to win is such a
you need an organization builder.
Yeah, like
as your head coach.
The Jets are not as toxic as the Cowboys are, in my opinion.
I would agree.
The Jets operate and assume things are going to work far too often. The idea that you thought you could bring in Aaron Rodgers as a rental and that the percentage of that going sideways was
and
low.
Look what he did to Diana Rossini. And I thought this was a really good point. And I want to say it was the Michael Kay show, maybe. He attacked I said Brett Favre. Aaron Rodgers attacked Diana Rossini on the Pat McAfee show.
Mm-hmm.
When Diana Rossini reported, hey, Aaron Rodgers has given a list to the Jets of players he'd like them to add. And she named players, including Devontae Adams, including Cobb and Lazard. What did they do? They added almost all the people she reported they were going to add. But what did Aaron Rodgers do when that list came out? Oh, she's ridiculous. What did he do when Adam Schefter reported correctly? He attacked Adam Schefter.
What did he do with Ryan Clark?
Attacked Ryan Clark.
And lost that battle definitively.
This is the issue with the Jets. You handed the keys to that franchise to Aaron Rodgers, and it failed miserably.
Mm-hmm.
I think McCarthy's the right guy for them. But I want him to be the coach of the Bears. I really do. McCarthy didn't overshadow their love for Cliff. Maybe you're right.
We'll see.
Maybe we're right.
All I'm asking of them is to make the hire before one of those two guys takes the job. That's my only ask.
Brandon Butler, Mike McCarthy getting to the Jets just to cut Raj. That would be amazing.
Epic.
That revenge story would be epic. It would. It would. Rod, hand shoe.
Rod.
I've been a lifelong Buckeye fan. I went to Ohio State, so I feel like I'm qualified to say that most of us were really bad at the Michigan loss. But winning the national title matters more. Well, I think that's very true.
Yeah.
but it doesn't mean you forget the Michigan losses. The eye patch, hello. You said that with such passion, Monty. He's the right guy for the job. He is. And for once, I want the Bears to not hire John Fox. Hire the right guy for the job. Don't go hire Ebersucks. Don't go hire Matt Nagy. Hire the right guy for the job.
Yeah.
Let Ryan Poles make that choice, because for once, maybe the GM and the coach can be on the same page.
Yeah.
Which is rare in Chicago. Was Ebersucks Poles' guy? No, he wasn't. You know. Steiny, if McCarthy is the right guy, then you can bank on the Bears not offering him the job. It's just the Bears' way of life. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
Delaric, if Cliff doesn't get the Bears job, he stays in Washington another year. I would have to think so. I'd have to think so. Lawrence Hatcher, what is Detroit Lions injury update? Got to play a big part two. I think you should wait for that till tomorrow. Yeah. Tomorrow is kind of a defining day for availability on Sundays. I really hope for their sake, once they beat the hell out of Washington, that Aiden Hutchinson can play in the Super Bowl, but I think it's just so unlikely. Delaric, Dion is just to keep them in the news. He will hire Kellen Moore. That would be so disappointing. That would be. Brandon Butler, Warren and Poles tend to move quietly. Jared does everything on a megaphone. Well, that's not wrong. It's why all the coach stuff has been speculation with the Bears. They've done a really good job of putting a lid on it. Yeah. Tanner Plumer. Tanner, hello. Good to see you. I saw a betting chart for who's going to be the next Cowboys coach, and it said that Kellen Moore was the favorite while Dion is second on the list. Well, in Vegas, watch those odds, because that'll change as the reporting changes. And in Vegas, it's Deion Sanders. Yeah. So I have heard a lot of Michigan fans bashing Ohio State, saying they wouldn't have made the playoffs if it wasn't 12 teams. That's completely false. It is teams, and you didn't make it. That's right. That's right. Mile High Phil. The Jets are still a slave to A-Rod, and he won't allow them to hire Mike. I think he will not be back with the Jets. He won't. Lawrence, that proves only thing left with Aaron Rodgers is his attitude. When he was young, you could accept his attitude because of his performance. Yep. And he still only won one. Tanner Schefter said this: Deion Sanders open to coaching Dak Prescott, won't need Shador on the Cowboys. Well, and what did Deion open his show with this season? His Coach Prime show. 99.9%. This is the last year I'll coach my kids. So I think all this fake narrative about have to have Shador, I don't think that's true. I don't think. I think that the concept of Deion and Shador on the same team, it's an interesting concept and conversation, but I don't think putting it on Deion that he absolutely has to have Shador is selling him way short of what he's capable of. Wow, look at Wasikowski moving to St. Pete this weekend. You're moving to Russia? St. Petersburg, Russia. Dude, are you and Buddy, the disgraced Fox News host, gonna hang out, or Tucker? You and Tucker Carlson? Yeah, you and Tucker are gonna hang out, dude?
Hey, guys.
Wow. Why are you moving to Florida? I would love to live in Jupiter. I have no interest in living in the hurricane zone, dude. Yeah. And Mrs. Monty would never do it. I would do it, but she wouldn't. Fat Jesus. Rex. Okay. What did I ever do to you? Fat Rex Ryan to the Bears. Please, God, no. Mile High Phil. Deion is not leaving Colorado this year. Everyone is trying to get clicks. Okay. Yeah, we'll see. You really don't think he's a serious candidate for the Cowboys? Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. Cale Mitchell. Nah, probably Florida. I know it was a joke, dude. It was a joke. That was a Russia joke. In all seriousness, Eric, be safe, dude. That's a big move. Happy for you. Hope it works out exactly how you want it to. I like to tell people this. I went to junior high with Ron Rivera and Mrs. Aztec. Went to high school with him. Fort Ord, Monterey Peninsula area. Nice. Ron Rivera is genuinely a nice guy. Yeah. He is one of the best dudes. He is. RJC, man, SEC is afraid of NIL because now party will be hard for them to compete. I don't think so. I think SEC schools pay as much as everybody else does. And NIL is much more limited now. Mm-hmm. It's more about how much what that revenue sharing with the kid is. Because everybody's got the $20.5 million budget, and So I know what you mean, though. I know what you mean. The eye patch. Hey, Monty, just hope the Bears are not interested in Josh McDaniel. Seriously.
Yeah.
They're not. They're not. Real quick, I want to get to a couple other stories because I think one of the stupidest things I've seen, and I could be wrong about this, but one of the dumbest things I've seen is this rumor that the Phoenix Suns are going to trade Devin Booker to the Houston Rockets.
Mm-hmm.
Before we get to my speeding ticket, does it make any sense? And the Houston Rockets have been everywhere telling everybody, hey, we want to trade for Devin Booker. Now, I would remind you, Book has a full no trade, and the Lakers are the only team on the list. If the Suns want to trade Devin Booker to the Lakers, they can do that. Every other franchise is on his no trade. He has to approve it. He's not going to Houston. Thirdly, why would the Phoenix Suns, in what situation does it make sense that the Phoenix Suns would trade Devin Booker? He's what's right with that organization. You trade Devin Booker, you're losing between 20 and 30 points a night, and you don't have a way to replace that. And nothing, and I don't care if it's Jabari Smith, I don't care who you want to say, nothing on that Houston Rockets roster replaces what Devin Booker does for the Suns. He's a leader in the locker room. He's an icon in the Phoenix community. Jake, I don't think this makes any sense at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's we get this every year. So, like, it used to be that, when the Suns were really bad, it was like, oh, well, they're going to trade Devin Booker and Drew Bledsoe to who? And now it's like, oh, well, the Suns are really good, but, Houston's got a lot of money because they're a really young roster. So they're going to try and do a trade with Phoenix and include cash and obviously players, and it can all work out. And my question is, Devin Booker's always been a guy that wants to be part of winning teams, and they just haven't been able to get it to click in Phoenix yet. But he's in the best situation he's been in for his entire career, playing with Kevin Durant. When Brad Beal decides to show up on any given night, playing with Brad Beal, like, he's got good players on the roster, and they just haven't been able to make it click. But you're not going to go from that to Houston, and that's the part that bothers me. Is I'm sitting here wondering, if you're Devin Booker, are you waiting for the LeBron James era to end before you leave the Phoenix Suns to then go to the Lakers and start fresh? Because I can get down with that narrative in Devin Booker's career. Hey, try to figure it out with the team that drafted me. I think this is his 9th season in the NBA or something like that. Like, he's approaching 10 years in the league. Hey, I spent 10 years with the Suns, whatever. Now I'm going to move on. I can get down with that storyline, but the idea that the Suns are going to trade Devin Booker to have, Kevin Durant at the end of his career, albeit still elite, but at the end of his career, and Brad Beal, just is not, that doesn't make a lot of sense. And that's why I say this is one of those stories that we get all the time in the NBA, where it's like, oh, it's a sexy name. It's one of the best players in the league, and it's a team that could use one of the best players in the league. And that's why we're going to report it. We're not going to, ask Devin Booker if he'd be open to playing for the Rockets. We're not going to ask, James Jones if he's open to trading Devin Booker. We're just going to report the odds that Vegas is putting out because so many people are talking about it. Yeah, and that's the issue I have with it.
It's ridiculous. Let's get something clear now. Kevin Durant is not demanding a Devin Booker trade. That's one of the stupidest things I've ever heard. Are the Suns disappointing? Massively. Are they winning at a rate that they want to win at? Clearly not. Do they have roster dysfunction? Absolutely. Is Kevin Durant trying to force this through? No, he's not. Stop. Not everything, and I know this is hard to believe, not everything is Kevin Durant's fault. World hunger, wars, the wildfires in Los Angeles, those are not Kevin Durant's fault. The Suns sucking is not Kevin Durant's fault. Devin Booker being traded is A, I don't believe going to happen, and B, is not Kevin Durant's fault. Mm-hmm. You don't trade Devin Booker in the middle of a season. Do you trade Bradley Beal? You do. Nurkic? You do. Role players? You do. You don't trade a guy like Devin Booker, the unquestioned cornerstone of that franchise, in the middle of a season.
Yeah.
It makes, in my mind, Very little sense that you would do that. I mean, it is unthinkable to me that you would even consider this move. And I'm not saying the Suns are. I'm not saying that the Suns have even entertained it. But I can tell you this, having covered that team and having covered Devin Booker, if he's getting moved, I am guessing his first desire would be the Los Angeles Lakers. And that's not happening right now. It's not. And Matt Ishbia is not. I have a really hard time believing that Matt Ishbia, the owner of the Suns, would trade Devin Booker. And I have a really hard time believing Kevin Durant would be the one asking them to trade Devin.
Yeah, I mean, the issue is, and this is what I've said this for a long time about NBA teams and roster building. You know, we went through a big three era in the NBA, you know, with LeBron and Miami and everything, and then obviously Golden State and all that. But nowadays, you got to have a duo that leads your team, and then everyone else kind of falls in line. That's why you see like the LeBron Anthony Davis dynamic works. Now, I understand that they're not winning championships and dominating. They won one in the bubble, but it's not like they've been incredible.
No.
But that roster build works provided you have a solid core of role players to play in tandem with them. And that's why I say I'm down if 2 to 4 seasons from now, Devin Booker goes to the Lakers. I'm cool with that. I don't have any problem with it. This is somebody who grew up in the prime Kobe Bryant years, idolizes Kobe Bryant, and wants to follow in his footsteps and play for the Lakers.
Has talked about that openly.
Yeah, so I'm good with that. But I think we like to get hasty with these things and do things like, hey, Kevin Durant's trying to force Devin Booker out. And that's just one of the dumbest things that I've ever heard.
Yeah. Lopes fan Gabe. Everybody hit the like button. Booker as first out of Phoenix in a rebuild is not happening. Literally everyone else on the roster would have to be shipped before I see him going. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. Gabe, I totally agree with you. Fat Jesus. Booker is holding back Beal. Totally agree. Everything is Devin Booker's fault.
Garbo.
Fat Jesus also says Durant elected Trump and overturned Roe v. Wade. Totally Kevin Durant's fault.
It's all on. It's
decline of women's freedoms and rights in this country. Kevin Durant's fault.
Yeah.
Russia invading Ukraine. Kevin Durant's fault.
Affects me.
The norovirus and people crapping themselves. Kevin Durant's fault.
The tariffs. You know?
Kevin Durant's fault.
Yeah. You know.
Cashless.
Kevin Durant's fault that we don't use cash in this country anymore.
Yeah.
Inflation. Kevin Durant's fault.
Yep.
Trying to think of other things. Ebola, Kevin Durant's fault.
Bird flu,
Kevin Durant's fault.
Yeah, you know,
I tripped and fell. Kevin Durant's fault.
The coronavirus.
Kevin Durant's fault. Wuhan Durant.
Yeah.
It's amazing how much shade Kevin Durant gets. Like, it's wild to me. Yeah. Thanks, Durant, you jerk.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Anyway, I just wanted to get into that.
Yeah.
And now. I may have been a mile or 30 over the speed limit last week.
It is what it is.
So we're driving to CES in Las Vegas last Tuesday night. I have a BMW M2, X2M. It's fast. We were going downhill in Beaver County, Utah.
Hey, Beaver.
Nice, Beaver. I was not on cruise control like an idiot. Turns out, 80-mile-an-hour zone, I was doing 104.
Keep it real.
Gotta wrote me a ticket at 101.
Now, firstly, got to say, give the cop credit.
Not reckless driving,
Not
thankfully.
reckless driving. Wrote you down a little bit, but was very business. No BS. Just walked up to the window. License, insurance.
I did have my hands on the steering wheel. I did ask his permission to reach into my pocket. Respected him. He respected us. We were maybe stopped on the side of the road 3 minutes. But in Beaver County, Utah, who knew? They give you a little slip of paper that has a QR code on it.
Dude.
QR code leads to a phone number. You call the phone number. After hours, left a message. The next morning in Vegas, wake up to a phone call from the judge of Beaver County, because there's only one. The judge called me. He's like, yeah, you're done. He's like, he was a little confused about, I've never gotten a ticket.
They have this process, and this is what led to the judge's confusion. So they have this process. When you get a ticket, you scan the QR code. It brings you to a screen on your phone that asks you to answer a couple of questions. Questions like, hey, have you ever had a felony? Like, just generally speaking. Hey, like, were you speeding over 100? Yada, yada, yada. Basically questions that either, include or exclude you from doing traffic school to handle the ticket. And so note all the questions except for speeding over 100 because the ticket was written for 101. So, we're filling this out. Answer that question. Yes, I have a ticket for over 100 miles an hour. So the judge calls my guy over here, and the confusion was about whether you had previously, had like criminal speeding on your record, and you were like, no, I don't, which you don't. And he was like, well, you answered yes. And the judge seemingly was confused about that particular question. Because the question was your ticket written for over 100 miles an hour? Not, hey, did you have, this aggressive driving or whatever on your record in the past? And so there was a little bit of confusion that way. But then it seemed like he realized he was.
So I call the judge back. We have a 2-minute hearing on the phone. I plead guilty.
But that was like a thing, too. He was like, so are you ready to plead guilty? Like you looked at me and you're like, yes,
I guess. And I said to him, well, what does it mean if I plead guilty? And he said, it matters not. If you plead no contest or plead guilty, it's the same thing. Pleading guilty means the case ends today because you are not eligible for traffic school because it's over 100 miles an hour. So I could not go to traffic school. So it's a $450 fine.
Bro.
200 points on your license. Half of those come off after 6 months. All of them come off your license after a year. $450.
It's rough, bro. It's rough.
The amazing thing is, apparently, this is not uncommon. And I think it's not uncommon because Beaver, Utah, for those of you who don't know, and why would you, is at elevation. So when you're coming out of Beaver, it's straight downhill.
Yeah.
Like
you're driving back into a valley.
We were coasting when I got pulled over. I wasn't even like on the gas. And I think if I hadn't been driving a BMW, and I just think it was the wrong place, wrong time. I should have been in cruise control. Anytime I'm on the freeway, usually I'm 10 mile an hour over guy. Like if it's 80, I'm going to go 89. If it's 70, I'm going to go 79. You're not getting knocked down for 9 miles over. You're 9 out of 10 times you won't. Have never gotten a ticket at that, doing that. I just was not in cruise control.
Well,
and it's going to cost me $450.
The other thing you have to remember is we had, so that was Tuesday evening. So if you wind the clocks back, we did the show that morning, worked all day, did our usual schedule, and then we had the drive ahead of us. So we were also, not that you were drowsy driving, but just like you were at the end of your day, just basically just driving along. Like it wasn't, we were just trying to get through the drive. And I would agree that particular instance was like bad timing, but ultimately, like that's why the cop sits there, because it's easy pickings.
It's downhill. Everybody's speeding there. Like, yeah.
So that's what's tough.
It is brutal.
Yeah.
But are you uncomfortable when you get pulled over by the cops?
Not most times. I mean, I'm with the whole movement of not answering questions and all that. But I'm also a big believer that if you treat the cop well, he's going to treat you well. Like if you're not an asshole about it, he's going to treat you well. Like, it's okay to say, hey, I'm not interested in answering any questions, but you can't be mean to the cops. There's and I'm also a big believer, there's no reason to be uncomfortable with the cop if you're just being pulled over because you were speeding, or like if it's a traffic violation.
I think no matter who you are, when you get pulled over by the cops, put your hands on the steering wheel you're going to reach in your pocket, say, hey, it's what I did. I put my hands on the wheel. He came up to the passenger side because we were on the freeway.
Which I always forget, by the way.
Yeah.
I always forget they come up on the passenger side.
Yeah.
Now.
So he came up to the passenger side and he handled it very straightforward. Did not ask me what I was doing there. Did not ask me where I was going. Simply said, hey, I got you at 104 miles an hour. Can I see your driver's license and proof of insurance?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'm going to reach into my pocket and get my license. He said, man, I appreciate you saying that. Thank you. And showed him my insurance on my phone.
To your point, though, about the Beamer thing, he didn't ask for registration.
No, he did not.
And I think it's because it was a Beamer.
He did not ask me if it was my car. None of that. None of that. So I am not comfortable getting pulled over. Thankfully, knock on wood, it doesn't happen to me a lot. I've maybe gotten 2 tickets in several years. Both of them were driving on the open freeway.
Yeah.
I try to be very careful.
I don't think I'm not sitting here saying I'm comfortable getting pulled over. I don't think anyone is like, oh yeah, this is just chill. Like, you never know what you're getting into. It's so cop specific, but I think that again, if you just treat them well and you're not an idiot about it, you're going to be fine.
Yeah. Well, but I also think this is true. Disdain Rogue says, just remember, he's not there to help you. He's not. I'm just assuming I'm getting shot. Okay. Zona says, I'm not feeling great when I get pulled over. No. But I think my advice has always been, and if you've been a long time on this show, and Brandon makes a good point, how many bodies are in the trunk? I would always advise people, I am not a lawyer. This is just my personal opinion. When a cop comes up to the car, I would put your hands on the steering wheel. I would be respectful. And in most states now, it is law that they have to say, hey, I pulled you over because I clocked you at 104. And if they say to you anything other than, can I see your driver's license and proof of insurance? If they say, hey, where are you headed? Hey, what are you doing? I would say, what I always say, I'm not talking about my day. Am I being detained or am I free to go? And what will happen is they will instantly hit a switch and say, yeah, you're being detained. I'm going to write you a ticket. Hand them your driver's license. Show them your proof of insurance on your phone or on a card. Hand it to them, and they're going to write you a ticket, and you're going to be on your way. 9 times out of 10. Hey, you're doing 104. You mind if I search your vehicle? I do mind. You're not. I'm not giving you permission to search my vehicle. And if it goes any further than that, you need to tell them I'm invoking my Fifth Amendment rights to silence. I will not be speaking with you. And if he's going to search your vehicle, let him search your vehicle. If he's going to bring drug dogs, let him bring drug dogs. You can adjudicate all of that in court. But under no circumstance do you consent to a search, and under no circumstance do you talk to the cops.
Yeah.
And I don't care if you're a white collar executive or if you are a kid from the inner city. It does not matter. It is all the same. In my opinion, when you get pulled over, anything you say to the cops is going to be used against you, and you should act accordingly. Because that's why they read you your rights.
Yeah.
But I'm also telling you, they ask you to identify yourself. If they say, hey, driver's license and proof of insurance, great, no problem. Hey, I need you to step out of vehicle. Okay, great, no problem. But under no circumstances are you going to say yes to a search, and under no circumstances are you going to tell them what you're doing during your day.
Yeah.
It's none of their business where you're going or
and
where
I
you're coming from.
appreciated that he didn't ask that.
Yeah, me too.
He didn't ask that.
Most cops will not. If you say to that, if they're like, hey, where are you going? Yeah, I'm not going to talk about my day. Am I being detained or am I free to go? Because the thing that most people don't know is they're on the clock. When they pull you over, they have a certain amount of time to do their job. They have to let you go. Or they're detaining you. And they have to have a lawful reason to detain you. So they're not looking to have like some lifelong conversation. They're looking to get information to incriminate you. They're looking, frankly, if we're being brutally honest about it, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. A lawyer friend of mine, they're only asking you those questions to find probable cause to search your vehicle.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And I'm telling you, I'm not talking about my day. Am I being detained or am I free to go?
Yeah.
You're being detained because I pulled you over for speeding. And in most states, they have to say to you when they walk up to the car, hey, I pulled you over because I clocked you doing 104, which is exactly what this cop did.
Yeah.
Can I see your driver's license and proof of insurance? Great, no problem. That's how I would handle it. But I agree, they're only asking you those questions to obtain probable cause to search your vehicle.
Yep.
Period. End of story. Zona Tucker, I have denied the cops a search of my dorm room when I was attending school. And I also say this, with all due respect, if a cop comes to your front door, if you have a doorbell camera, do not open your door. Talk to the cop through the doorbell camera. It's being recorded. And if you open the door, you are opening you are providing opportunity for them to come in your home. And I will again say, just like your car, under no circumstances do those cops have permission to be in my house. Now, if I called you there and okay, different. But if you knock, you see so many stories about cops sticking their foot in an open door and they will not allow you to close it because of something they saw, which gave them probable cause to get a warrant to search your house. Why are you opening the door? And there's this scam going around, and it was at Christmas time, where people dressed like cops come to the door and say, you need to open the door. And they would rob them. So I'm telling you, when cops come to your door, use your Ring doorbell. Talk to them through the doorbell. They have to identify themselves in most jurisdictions.
Yes.
Hey, Officer Smith from the Salt Lake City Police Department, here to talk to you about XYZ.
Mm-hmm.
That is standard protocol in most departments. So if a cop is unwilling to tell you who they are and what department they're from, don't open the door. If the cop is there and is saying, hey, I need to talk to you about your friend Willie, don't open the door. There's no reason for them to see inside your home.
Yeah.
Is what it is. Disdain Rogue, right. Let them find out the day of court. They don't need to know then. They don't. And if they're going to pull you out of your car, never, ever, ever resist the police. Ever in any way. You obey their commands. Hire a lawyer. That lawyer will fight for you in court. Period. How about you don't commit crimes? It's not rocket science. Unfortunately, that's not the way the world works anymore. It's not the way the world works.
First timers always try to come in here and be red asses.
I've said this before. If you're a criminal, if you're not a criminal, handle the traffic stop the same way. I agree. Don't be a jackass. Don't smoke weed. I am not a weed smoker. Don't smoke weed. Don't have open containers in your car. Don't carry illegal guns. Okay. But here's the problem. You don't know what they're going to find. You have no idea when you allow a police officer to search your vehicle. What good is going to come from that? And I've been in this position on the 405 freeway in the middle of the night when I used to do overnight radio. I got pulled over on the way home and a CHP cop ripped all of my stuff out of my car and then said, have a good night. So I'm asking you, Mr. Bay Area Nah, what's the upside of you saying yes to them searching your car? There isn't one. What's the downside? Dude, the list is endless. You could have a rogue cop that plants a bag of weed in your car. You could have your friend could have dropped a bullet in your back seat or in your front seat, or who knows? But what I do know is I have rights, and the probable cause does not exist for you to search my car.
Yeah.
And if you don't have probable cause, you're not searching my car. Never keep the PC in plain sight. Well, just remember, don't help cops investigate you ever.
Yeah.
There are a set. Why do we have rules and laws in this country? They have to have probable cause to search your vehicle. If they do not, I'm not giving it to them. They have to have probable cause to search your home. If not, I'm not giving it to them.
And too many people do.
Unconscious bias. Yes. Do you understand that when a cop searches your car, he's looking for bad? He's not there to say, man, Tim, you look here. Hey, Monty.
He did that.
Hey, Monty, you're a nice guy.
Yeah, he did that, by the way. Because you were trying to pull your insurance up on your phone. What was he doing while you were doing that?
Looking around my car.
He was looking around the car.
In pitch black. It is pitch black out here.
Yeah. Pitch black side of the freeway.
He's got a bright flashlight. And again, I ask you this. What's the typical modus operandi of a police officer at night? They're going to shine a bright light in your mirror so you cannot see them. And they're going to have a bright flashlight shined in your face so you cannot see them. And when I'm pulling up my insurance card on my car, what's he doing? Looking around my car. I'm not going to give him probable cause. I'm not going to let him search my vehicle. I'm just not. Don't commit crimes. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah,
listen, my guy, if you want the cops to search your car, have at it. I recommend you don't do that because only bad can come from that. Only bad can come from that. That's the bottom line. Only bad can come from that. The Monty Show, as always, presented by the Advocates at theadvocates.com. The best injury attorneys in the business. San Diego. You now have an Advocates office in San Diego. Las Vegas. You now have an Advocates office in Phoenix, Vegas, San Diego, Boise, all of Utah, Montana. Everywhere you are, the Advocates are ready to serve you. Get to theadvocates.com. Chat with an injury attorney live online 24/7, 365, and it won't cost you a dime at theadvocates.com. Until tomorrow, when we'll have a full NFL playoff preview on the show. Say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.